But there's a sci-fi author who decided essentially that we need to start writing more hopeful stories because all the shit that people are taking from and like we keep giving them ideas for dystopian futures, and it's like
Yeah.
we kind of need to stop that shit. Like quit giving them ideas. So there's like a small movement within like sci-fi and comic book writers to like yeah have like emotional depth and deeper stories, but ultimately end on like hope and good notes and like inspire people. And it it's been a long time rewiring my brain because I'm very cynical as a person. We've had conversations off stream and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I'm you know I have to consciously try to be a positive individual and hopeful and stuff like that because I mean I didn't get to where I got to in life by any like I mean everyone has their wars, but like the trauma and the stuff I went through to like where I ended up, sarcasm and cynicism were my defense mechanisms and they ran really deep. And I think in a sense all millennials right now exist in that space. You know, you,
Yeah.
you have a whole generation of kids with the worst upward mobility we've ever seen as a society, like as like in terms of America, and it goes global too, like upward mobility, wealth gaps, things like that, like not to mention like how student loan debt, and I don't want to get political with it or anything like that because who you blame I think is really more like what shows your political leanings. It's who you would blame for it, but like it is a fact that it's gotten worse. It's that
Yeah.
we're just shoveling debt onto people. The reality of owning houses seems unreachable, and certainly the ability to work at Burger King to actually pay your tuition is just gone. You can't do that. Like
No. Oh God, no.
so we have this whole generation of people who just like Gen X were already like kind of checked out, like they were too cool for the world, you know? So Gen X was too cool. Like they're already checked out. They're busy like making shit like the Terminator and like really awesome like the cool bedrock sci-fi stuff. Um I'm getting to a point. I got a point here.
I'm
And
I'm waiting.
and you had these like sort of checked out, Gen Xers, which if I put on my tinfoil cap, I'd say that's part of the reason boomers are so entrenched in our power structures, because Gen X just said nothing matters and they checked out. Millennials got deadlocked into a position where they can't do anything, or they feel like they can't do anything despite trying, and and we keep going, and so now you have this generation of people, like rather than you have this generation of people who are very sardonic, sarcastic. It's become our defense mechanism. It's in our DNA. But now we're looking to our art and our stories and stuff like that, and we're telling stories that are starting to be more hopeful. I think the difference between like Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy Battle is the eras they were made in. Now, by no means is it like all roses in Age of Sigmar, and I think we're definitely going to get to that when we talk about the Broken Realms tonight. Um, it doesn't feel like the meteor has been summoned in Final Fantasy in the Act 2 of Final Fantasy 7. The meteor's just
Yeah.
hanging in the sky and you just see it and you're like, "Well, we're fucked." Like Age of Sigmar doesn't have that feeling so much. Like you got to have tension. You got to have that moment where on Frodo's quest to deliver the ring to Mount Doom, the light seems to be going out, before the flashback of the most inspiring speech ever from, I wish the ring had never come to me, so do all who live to
Yeah.
see such dark times. Like, you got to have that moment, but then it ends on the positive thing, or you think that there's still opportunities for success, and I think that our media, the sort of sardonic, way too cool for you Gen X attitude is giving away a little bit to like now we're seeing stuff like Kipo, and Age of the Wonder Beast. And if you haven't seen it on Netflix, it is
I
fantastic.
haven't.
It is like this is animation at its finest. It's a post-apocalypse setting, and so you're like, okay, it's gonna be fucking Hunger Games and shit. Like, and it's got gigantic beasts, so I don't know what else you want. And
I'm kind of already sold.
like humanity has basically like retreated into like Volt 76, you know. And Kipo,
Uh-huh.
there's like a collapse in one of the tunnels, and she sort of gets rocketed out into the like overworld to see that the overworld is like very scary, and like animals have totally like one mutants have totally taken over and stuff. But then like this is where like the series kind of takes a turn from like Fallout or these other things with like rad beetles and shit like that. She goes around befriending them all. It's amazing. like, like they even
Well, then.
like season 3, they call attention to her, and she's like she's trying to befriend like the really bad guy, and they're like, you don't have to befriend everybody. like um so there's like Dragon Prince, or even Avatar, which is much earlier on in this,
Yeah.
where like Zuko has this amazing redemption arc, going from like enemy constantly pursuing the Avatar to like becoming, by the end of it, like a good guy. Like we're seeing a lot of media where like of redeeming bad guys and hope and stuff like that, like Undertale in the video game genres, like, and again, Age of Sigmar for me. And with all art, you can always read whatever you want into it. But for me, what I read into Age of Sigmar is like a thread of hope. I know I side with the bad guys and stuff like that, but like if Nagash wins, the setting sucks. I mean, it's super
Yeah.
metal and like it's Bone Planet then, and then I start writing Twilight Zone esque fanfic called the Bone Zone or Bone Planet. But as a game,
Oh, those stories.
yeah, yeah. So I see Chat Gang showing up here. W. Soren saying, good evening from Texas with the tier 3 sub for 20 years straight.
Jeez.
Friendship.
Time has flown.
I know. I know.
Whew.
How's it going, Snitbag? Leo, my friend. Rocco, your boy in the house. You love to see it.
Yeah, boy.
Kicker. Babby
Love
Soren
Kicker.
is sewing. Right on. And Kicker says, I truly appreciate Mars's couch.
Oh, thank you.
I like the art. Like, speaking of like hope
Oh,
and the
yeah.
future, big fan of the art. And then Hotspur subbing for 12 years of friendship, and also
Whew.
dropping 1,000 RDP to remind everyone that Chat Gang ain't nothing to fuck with.
Oh, you know what I should have done? Didn't even think of this.
Just brag a little bit with
Yeah.
your Bellicor. Is this where I'm supposed to put my Cursed City box over here? Like,
Oh, you want me? I got 2 more Curse City boxes. Should I put them up here, or is that too much?
I don't want like an avalanche to like engulf you, and then like we don't have a show anymore. The Flea, how's it going? What are we talking about? What we will be talking about tonight is Broken Realms, for the most part, and sort of last episode of RantCast we did like sort of mechanical predictions, what we foresee in AOS 3.0. We're gonna put on our tinfoil hats and talk a little bit about narrative, where we think it's going, and what we'd like to see in AOS 3.0 narratively speaking. And with that, I am, of course, the magical Mr. Mephisto, the most dangerous man in Age of Sigmar. This is episode 92 of AOS Rantcast, and tonight I am joined by, off of the Chat Gang bench, Takeovermars. How's it going, my friend?
Don't hold your applause. Keep clapping. I love it.
Pretty much
How's it
the
going?
pretty much the Slaaneshi laureate, the major domo of excess.
I'm just dripping in it. I love it.
And I'm just gonna say off the bat, I tend to do a lot of like sort of spectrum of coverage. Takeovermars, your YouTube channel's been going strong now for what, like 2 months about?
Yeah. Going strong is a very loose definition of it, but yeah, it's been going there. Between school and kids, I record a video whenever I can. I'm going to have to change up the format. I'm with GW releasing stuff so fast. I couldn't even get through half of Teclis before Bellacore is up for pre-order. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're trying to eat the elephant right now. And how do we eat the elephant, everybody? One bite at a time. So just, if you break it down into shorter clips, you don't need to get through everything, like jumping around a little bit. So that'd be my advice that you didn't solicit or ask for. But,
That's the best type of advice,
yeah.
unsolicited.
Yeah, it's the absolute best, where you have tons of hubris and just tell people your opinion without them asking. Blend the
Well, how
eloquence,
else are
says
they gonna
Vanilla
find
Song.
out about? Yeah, then you don't even have to bite it. You just drink it.
Yeah,
It's
there you go.
good.
It's like a smoothie. All the
Yeah.
protein. Yeah. Throw a little peanuts in it.
Faster.
Yeah.
Oh, that just for the irony. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, you've been doing narrative stuff for a little bit. You
Yeah.
actually like sort of do read throughs of through like you do some read throughs of the various stories. You had some really awesome death ones, which I appreciate. So thank you for that.
Well, I want to say it's just for you, but it's also for Kelly, who would only listen to my channel if I put some flesh eaters on there, and
See,
that was the way to bridge that gap.
clearly she has great taste. Death, you like I don't need to
Yeah,
go
I
on.
mean,
Like
you can though, please, especially if you keep talking about me. I like that.
I like that like you're like as Slaanesh has become like more prominent, and I really think that like the human Slaanesh, the mortal Slaanesh is just a great thing for the game. And as they become more prominent, you've become more Slaanesh like.
Well, it's funny that like as I talked about before when you had me on here, I didn't always like Slaanesh. I was always like corn's cool because it's red and that's my favorite color, and just angsty teen.
Right.
But looking back, like I've always been somebody that should have been liking Slaanesh, because when you don't know me, like this persona I'm giving off is exactly how I act with new people.
Right.
Very. So I was
Right.
like, what
Well,
the hell is wrong with me? Slaanesh is perfect.
well, there's a
I just-
picture. There's a picture you shared a little while ago of like you when you were still in the military and you're like lounged out on like
yeah.
some crates or something like that, and like that's a Slaanesh pose. You know, like
Yeah.
Korn might have been like flexing in front of the crate, and you're just like, "Hello."
Come on in.
Yeah,
Take a seat.
yeah.
Enjoy.
Can I ask? I don't know if I asked you last time, and we treat every episode like it's somebody's first episode around here. So, um, how did you make the jump to Slaanesh? Out of curiosity, I think people would love to know that. Like you said, you
So,
more corn.
yeah, it was more important. It was really just based off the red, and like that sounds good. Blood for the blood god. It's a cool saying.
Yeah,
Can't deny that. It's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I was kind of like, when I started diving in the lore about 2 years ago, I was like, Slaanesh has like a lot of doors that are really cool, and I like that whole Pride Before the Fall storyline, and that just fits perfectly with Slaanesh. And then the Keeper of Secrets reveal, my jaw dropped. I'm like, I sold off my Daughters of Cain army. I'm like, nope, goodbye, going towards this.
Yeah.
Just that sealed it for me. And then a funny story, when they did the Sigvald release, Kelly, did I or did I not scream like a little girl? She's just said I screamed like a little girl. As soon as Sigvald was there, I was like, oh, it was awful. It was my kids still ask me, like, why were you screaming like a little girl? I'm like, I love him. I love him so much.
Well, I mean, so that's gonna be pretty fun because I think for a lot of people, like something about a models or a mythos is what attracts you initially to the thing, and then like as you find out that like you find your passion, everything's just sort of like layers and layers, and you just get like deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper into like your love of the thing. And with Slaanesh, it was like, for me, the piece that's always been missing was like the mortal Slaanesh. Like I'm like, yeah,
Oh
demons,
yeah.
whatever, but like, seeing the Keeper of Secrets was like, this is what Slaanesh demons kind of should be. Like, yeah, daemonettes are pretty iconic, and like that's part of the DNA of Slaanesh. But with the Keeper of Secrets, as I saw it, I'm like, this is like this alien, otherworldly beauty.
Yeah.
This is that like, this is what I needed to really like tie it all together. And then I don't think it's a coincidence you get the Keeper of Secrets and we got sort of Demon Slaanesh leading into getting Mortals, because now
Yeah.
you look at that Keeper, you look at the Daemonettes and stuff like that, and then you look on the other side and you see all the mortal stuff and you're like, this all makes sense. Where
Yeah.
for me that just hasn't been in Fantasy Battle. Like, yeah, you could paint up some Chaos Knights with your like some Slaanesh marks and stuff like that, but I'm like, those that's not Slaanesh. Like,
So like, before the Mortals came out, I wanted to play Slaanesh Mortals, and that was my army, was Slaves of Darkness. Just everything was keyword Slaanesh, and I didn't give a shit about anything else that had the army had to offer. I'm like, it's only Slaanesh. If it doesn't have a Slaanesh thing, I really don't care what it does. I went with like the sub factions I didn't really care about. I'm like, whatever's the best for Slaanesh at that moment. But as soon as those morals came out, like people were like, oh yeah, you just turn the Chaos Warriors into these new Myrmidesh. I'm like, no, not even close. They're not even comparable. Like the Chaos Warriors, the new ones, they look good.
Yeah, they
The
look.
Myrmidesh Painbringers, gorgeous. Oh my god. Oh, my favorite. I love them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I bought so many boxes. I bought more boxes that even if their points drop, I will have too many. Like,
So you bought an excessive amount, is what you're saying.
well, yeah, more excessive than I thought I would go to. Like I bought a few boxes, I ordered some. I'm like, you know what? Why not buy a few more? Just why not? They're there. I might as well just get them.
Right.
They shouldn't just sit on a shelf. They're too good to sit on a shelf.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Like that passion and that yeah. I'm sorry. Wizardry dropping a tier 1 sub for 40
Yeah.
years of friendship, which would of course be about as long as I've been affiliated here.
Yeah, you've been you
In
you got in early.
I was one of the when they first did the affiliate program. I was in that first wave before they went away to like the DevCon, and then they made affiliate easier. So I like the hard affiliate mode, and then like and I'm not one of those people who's salty. Like in my day, I had to try hard for affiliate. I don't care. Like it's you should see the fruits of your labor. That like your advertising, your boosting the platform for Amazon on Twitch. Like you should at least have a couple emojis. Like I don't I don't like the people who like gatekeep in such a manner. Like ooh, because it was hard for me to do it. It should be impossible for everyone else to do it.
Horrible idea.
Chaos Warriors look amazing, but Painbringers look Slaaneshi. A good, yeah. I mean that's a.
I mean, yeah, it's all subjective, really. But in my correct and non-humble opinion, the better model is the Painbringer.
Right. And then Hams fan dropping a tier 1 sub for 2 years of friendship. Wonderful. Woo! Wonderful. And SJRK dropping a tier 1 sub for three years of friendship, saying time to drink, and then spamming that chat gang emote, which is pertinent. I normally don't self honk too much. My ego pretty much does that for me. I don't have to. But next week, RantCast is on Friday. You do not want to miss this one. This is Decantcast. My alter ego, the Marquis, will be showing up. I'm told, in full regalia, and there'll be wine tastings and a comparison between armies and what their wine pairing would be, as though you were yourself some Soulblight nobility.
I'm dressing up for it. You won't see me, but I will be dressed up and drinking wine.
I encourage everyone to dress up a little bit. Even if you don't want to buy like 3 bottles of wine, just have a bottle of wine. From the little list that's available on my Twitter. I'll reshare all that stuff. Reshare the Marquis message to chat gang. So I'm hoping everyone enjoys that legally and responsibly.
Yes. And responsibly means just don't be driving and stay home.
Yeah, you don't need to win the Darwin Awards.
No.
Soren,
but you can drink excessively.
Soren dropping 5 tier 1 gift subs to the community, bringing the Mad Lads total to 329.
I'm never gonna catch up. I'm
so.
never gonna catch up.
I think he's got like a year head start on you, man.
I'm gonna have to wait till like Kelly leaves for like the weekend or something, and just like a few hundred at once is what I'm gonna have to do. That's the only way it's gonna happen.
No, I just appreciate people watching and like boosting the signal. Like that's that's why like chat gang, like everyone's got their sub club. Like everyone's if you're watching your chat gang, like it's I don't like, oh, welcome to chat gang when someone like subs. Like you're already welcome in chat gang. Like there's no paywall to be part of chat gang. You show up, you talk, you're chat gang. That's all it takes.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure with Chat Gang, if like anybody showed up that wasn't sub, they're getting a sub by the end. Like you have like 1,000 people show up, they're all getting subs by the end of that show. Like it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, must be. Still have not received the Curse City boxes from Mini-Stomp, but I got a local one just in case for the Rantathon. Right on. And I actually have like a Rantathon prize sitting behind me. Vince Venturell actually painted the mountain in this Dice Miner box provided by
Whoa.
Atlas Games, so that's their deluxe edition. I've got my copy over there, my demo copy for playing and giving you guys my opinion on it. But so the Rantathon prizes or gifts are starting to come in. We gotta lock down the Rant house. We gotta get the ball rolling on that. So that's July 30th for anyone who's interested in that. That'll be again an MHA, Mental Health America charity marathon. The format will be similar but a little bit different because I've got more people to help me this time. So the Schadenfreude of just watching me stream for 27 straight hours. If that was the appeal before, let me know because I'll stream for I will.
It was the pie.
It was the pie.
It was the pie and the tattoo.
Yeah.
I think you should do 4 tattoos live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And while getting a pie to the face at the same time.
Really? No. See, I do have there will be a pie incentive again.
Yeah.
It's going to be Pie Mageddon. Is the
Oh.
So there's a new pie incentive. Yeah. I'm not doing a tattoo again. I gotta. This one will get. I just got my second vaccine. I am fully vaccinated as of tomorrow. So I can look into a shop. My goal is to have the tattoo on wrist prior to the Rantathon. So
I like it.
Yeah, like no charity fraud around these parts.
I mean, I would riot if you don't have that tattoo.
No, yeah, Rito, yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
Correct. Remind me, it's Nagash's face, right? With Negash spelt underneath.
No.
That's not what we went with.
No, it's Nagash's face, little ribbon. Sean B, Sean Zor on Twitter, sort of like sketched up the logo, and I'm like, that's it, that's the one. So I'm gonna take. I'm gonna go down to Milwaukee. There's a couple great tattoo joints in Milwaukee. Basically, just see who does undead really well because everyone's kind of got their specialty.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a ribbon on it with essentially placed for three words or script. I'm thinking it could be Hand of Dust. It could be Chat Gang Forever. So this three.
Craig was here.
Well, yeah, 3 words here. Something like that. So, Hand of Dust.
Love You Mars.
Love You Mars. Yeah, Love You Mars. We'll do that. If this year bombs, maybe I'll have to do something extreme for the following year. Snipbag, thank you so much for the biddies. Love the Corgo showing up there. Big fan of Corey E's. SJ Arcade, if you want to break for an hour, we could throw one more AOS blood tasting in there. Yeah. What's gonna happen is I think it's gonna be 36 hours, and I'm gonna be there for most of the beginning and most of the end, and I'm going to take a little 6-hour break in the middle, something like that. I think is how we're doing it. But since it's going to be at a venue, we'll have other people to do some stuff. So
I remember you talking about maybe doing a venue. I didn't realize you settled on a venue this year. I thought you were talking about
we're doing a closed, socially safe, people we know and can control. We know are all vaccinated and all safe to be around. It's more of a cabin than a venue. It was just going to be Bryce's house. but a few extra people want to help and show up, so yeah. We're going to, we'll go with that. Probably, I'll host it. I'll have people come on. We'll do an interview, every block interview. We'll do stuff like that. Since we do have a location, we're going to have actual Games of Age of Sigmar that we cut to sometimes where you can see, some actual Sigmar. Yeah, just stuff like that. So
for this, I like it. I'm all about it.
Yeah, and
next year I have to rent out a whole hotel though.
Well, next year we're thinking of making it like Rant Resort. So we'll have the venue, and venue, it doesn't feel like the right word, but next year then we'll make it this many donation slots, and then you get a ticket, and then those people can come that all goes to charity. You come and you can hang out with some of your favorite content creators for the weekend, play, challenge them to Warhammer, and we like the idea of like a Wisconsin has these like little cabins that you rent out, like the little cabin sites, and so we're probably gonna keep it small, keep it controlled.
This is going to turn into an actual, like, how all those big events that happen across the country. It's going to start off small and it's just going to blow up, and you're going to have a whole Mephisto fest going
I
on
you
in
know
a couple years.
I kind of regret this is like with PAX, like Penny Arcade Expo, like they
Yeah.
regret calling it Penny Arcade Expo because what it evolved into was it wasn't Penny Arcade anymore. It became like an indie game celebration and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm gonna regret putting my name on stuff after a little bit. Like,
Nah, it's called, you're laying down your legacy. Don't regret it. Own it.
well, I mean, my favorite character is Nagash. Am I not making myself immortal in a sense in our reality?
Yeah. No, exactly. Mr. Mephisto Fest. Yeah. No, I like it. I mean, you might find something better, but name it. But you put your name on it, you own it, and I don't care if it grows beyond whatever it is that you started off with. It's still you forever.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah. There you go.
Who cares if it grows outside your bounds?
Wizardry. It's Mephisto.
Mephisto. Ah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, not bad. Drinking chocolate vodka mixed with the vanilla vodka with a splash of coffee creamer. Decadence. Ooh, spicy.
So there's this beer. I don't know the actual name for it. I call it werewolf beer, and it's amazing. It's obviously a beer, but it has like chocolate, coffee, and orange in it, and it's delicious. It has a werewolf on the can from Great Lakes. Anybody knows it with the name. Beer Wolf. Love it.
This is the look at this can.
That is giant.
Yeah, this is what I'll be busting out in a moment. This is it's from Minnesota. This is fresh American cream ale with coffee. It's from a Minnesota
Ooh.
brewery. I of course RantCast didn't run last week. I was at my grandpa's funeral, as many people know or have learned through Twitter. And I whilst in Fargo, which for me is an 8.5-hour drive, so I had to trek across Wisco, the state I was born in that we don't talk about, because then I think I get deported. I lose my Wisco credit, and they like throw me out of the state. And it ended up in Fargo, North Dakota. So yeah, while I was there, I picked up some Fargo beer. I picked up some Minnesota beer. I didn't realize that Fargo is literally on the border. It's actually like smashed together with another city called Moorhead, and they're just like you're driving and then you're in Minnesota, and you're like the landscape doesn't shift, it doesn't change. It was a little weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did go see the wood chipper, and I had to let my Midwest out there a little bit from Fargo, the movie. Excellent movie. I haven't seen the TV series. I hear that's good too. But
I haven't either.
got my pictures taken with the wood chipper.
Important.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty important. So we turned a negative into a positive. I had to go for a funeral, and we did this sightseeing you can kind of do outdoors and stuff. The adults are all vaccinated in my family, in my household, but the kids aren't. So we still had to be mindful. So, I had a job offer in Upper South Dakota. That is literally what the recruiter called it. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Fargo, would go again. It was actually a nice little city. Felt very vacant. Like it was weird because we were like on the weekend. We ended up. I took Molly to a restaurant, and like it's just everywhere we went. Like it was very quiet, and I'm like, this place is a population of like what is it, like almost 200,000 people, and it was like empty so often.
I feel like, at least in a lot of the Midwestern / Dakotas type, the less weird shaped states, I guess, they inflate the numbers of the population that lives anywhere. Every time I've been through one of them, it's always seems pretty dead. I could be driving through like bumper to bumper traffic, and I hit the state, and all the traffic disappears. I'm like, That's weird.
There's this like, I was talking to Molly about this. Um, do you ever like psych yourself out and scare yourself just like with an overactive imagination? I still do this as an adult. I know
Oh
it
yeah.
work. Like you're just driving and all the cars are gone, and like you suddenly like start thinking up some Stephen King plot, like where all the cars have vanished Langoliers style, and you're just like you're the only one in the state suddenly, and you start to like think about that. You don't see a car for a long time, and you kind of work yourself up to like getting creeped out.
Yeah.
I do
I
that for
no,
fun.
I actually they few actually your like the day before your birthday stream, they put me on medication for that because I do it too much and too
Oh,
often.
yeah.
Like, oh no, that's you need to stop that. I'm like, oh, I thought everybody did this constantly. Like, no, you're just weird. We need to fix it. Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh man. I have a thing I'm going to pull up here.
While you do that, I'm drinking Liquid Death tonight. I highly recommend it. The best water ever made.
Is it water?
It's not made. Yeah, oh, it's water. It's amazing. So it tricks my stupid lizard brain into believing I'm drinking a soda or a beer. So I stay hydrated because in a can, like a big ass soda or a beer.
There you go. So that's
Yeah.
smart.
And for some reason, like I doesn't. It's just freaking water, but I'm like, oh, I just drink it like I'm chugging a beer for some reason.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
No, the most hydrated I've been in years.
There you go. Here, I pulled up SJ Arcade through this list together. It's all the armies in Age of Sigmar. If you look in the lower right hand corner of the screen there, chat gang, you can see this is every faction in Age of Sigmar.
I'll pull it up.
I've done one of those spreadsheets. LOL. This is the number of kits and their price to buy. I assume one kit, one of every kit in the whole army. So Cities of Sigmar, pretty pricey. Stormcast Eternals. so just you can admire this as the show goes on, everybody.
Damn,
What's that?
I can't see it on my phone. It's too small.
It's saved in Discord, so everyone can check it out there. Again, SJW. This is just a taste of the kind of preparation SJ put into next week's show.
So we talk about it tonight too as a primer.
I just wanted the spreadsheet up. I was tired of the screen was like too lopsided. I'm like, I need something in this little corner here, so I put it up there. Yeah. So, speaking of spreadsheets, no. Bad segue.
So speaking of spreadsheets, how do you like stories?
How do you like stories? Well,
Spreadsheets are just stories that are boring.
well, actually, Telltale Games, prior to going defunct and stuff like that, they would write their storyboards on spreadsheets because they had
Yeah,
branching dialogue and plots.
I feel like you're just making my point for me.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you, but elaborating to make it a more salient point.
I'm just the Telltale games like they look like they're gonna be very interesting, but like they all led to the same thing. It was very like, oh, this is highly disappointing for me.
I liked Walking Dead, the first one, because the story they were telling I thought was great, regardless of if it was kind of like more. I do feel like the story changed enough because the journey changed enough, even though you ended in the right place. Like because it was such a story about like sort of morality. The moral message you sort of received along the way felt poignant.
It's been a while, but I remember most of the decisions felt like I was killing somebody that didn't need to be killed, no matter what.
Right.
Like the options were like, I get it, like it was very limited, but in the option, like in this situation, there were like so many more options you could have gone with. Like the guy stuck in a bear trap, kill him or cut off his leg. Why?
Yeah.
We're just here zombies right now. We don't even see them yet. Can't we take a few seconds and like let's try to get it off?
Right. Well, like that's the thing is their branching dialogue was always the trolley problem, and
Yeah,
the trolley problem puts you in such a contrived situation to begin with, to like even begin to like make the like get you to think about it. And I'm like, why the fuck am I in front of the lever, asshole? What did we do to get me to the lever?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like, I don't know, I came off games like KOTOR 1 and 2, and then going into that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this. I mean, yeah, they all led to the same problem, but I had a lot more options at me and pissed off a lot more people.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to
And
make.
yeah, I killed my first time playing Knights of the Old Republic 1. I killed Johanny. I didn't know you could save her. I had no idea. I couldn't talk her to go back to the spoilers to anybody that hasn't played this really old game. That's amazing. I didn't know you could talk to her to go back to the Jedi Council and rejoin the light side. So I just killed her. She kept refusing to talk to me. I'm like, fine, you'll just die. And I just moved on. I was like, who's this last companion I can't seem to find at all? I went back, like, before I beat the game, I kept flying around. Like, where is this person?
Here we go. We'll pull up the Talon or the voice here. I don't have a side by side, unfortunately, so we're just gonna.
Oh, God. The voice, I love. That's my favorite one.
Your team Sinessa?
Yeah.
See, I'm team Dex Sessa.
I mean, they're both beautiful, but if I had to pick one, it's the voice.
Really? See,
yeah. Well, I mean, like I like the swaying of the masses to your side over the retaliation. Which is the roles I feel they obviously fill.
So you're on a narrative axiom that you lean towards one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, well, and maybe that's influencing why I like her model more too.
Right.
I'm not sure, but
yeah, no, like, it's all interconnected.
Yeah.
This goes back to why when you started to get into Slaanesh, you saw a model, but then you liked more of the flaw. This is how the human brain works. It's a sort of a scatter shot of things that it's a web. Our brains are it's a web. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and I mean like the wings and it's just they're both very elegant, but like the little two side of the wings. I'm all about wings, and those look like wings to me. So I'm in for it. Compared to the peacock feathers.
I love the peacock.
I mean, I like it looks cool, but I had enough dealing with peacocks with Hedonism bot and that stupid lady with the peacock feathers. I spent too long trying to get those. Peacocks go rot in hell right now. All of them, all the birds.
I don't know. Like I like the horns, the really alien horns on.
Yeah, the horns are really cool.
Both of them are cool, but it was like, okay, here's elegant regal horns. These are like so twisted and like they're so like just like H.R. Giger like full on alien queen, like just gnarly. I love it. Like this is it's but again, this is the otherworldly beauty we're talking about. Like I like that Games Workshop just casually dropped like just a model that's the best any other company's ever made. They're just, oh yeah, this model's coming out.
Oh yeah, no, it's not even like a giant fanfare. Like I remember, I'm not naming companies because I don't want to seem like I'm putting them down or anything.
Right,
but
right, and you never want to yuck anybody's yum. And they
Yeah.
put a lot of talent and or effort into what they release. Yeah, go on.
And the competitive companies do make some really great models, but like a model like if they put out a model like this, it would have been like a big announcement type of thing. And it was like, oh, it's Model Monday. Here you go. Have two.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Right.
No big deal.
Right. Right.
I know a lot of people are upset about like, oh, why is it coming out? But I don't care personally. Give me another book. I want these. I want more. Just keep giving me more. If it means I'm getting a book after 3 months, I don't care. Just give me more. I want it all.
I mean, that's the interesting like perspective when it comes to Age of Sigmar. Like, I think what they did with Alarielle, they did dirty. Like I think that's the most anti-consumer thing they've done in a while, and it's not because they released the second Alarielle book so close or anything like that. They had actually intended to do them together last year, and I'm like, you were already going to do this? Like that was like, whoa! It all started from the putting the when the Battle Tome initially came out, you could only get it in the Start Collecting box or their little
Yeah.
that to me, Like they wouldn't even release the digital version of it, and like that whatever. But the thing is, if your book comes out, and put your mind into the person who is the most in love with your army, like we tend to just buy the stuff for our army almost regardless. You know,
Yeah.
like, I have the full, like, I'm in love with OBR. I have the full range of things. It's over 3,000 points. I can't run it all at the same time. I bought it all because I loved it all and I wanted it all. I have 2 Vok Mordians. If anyone wants one, I've got one. I've got 2 Vok Mordians. Like, I just bought the whole range and most of it in duplicate because I'm like, I love this army. I want to own it all. I will get my army on the table, and then at my leisure put the rest of it together and like be on this permanent journey. Like Age of Sigmar players, once you're like sort of indoctrinated, we're kind of like always buying stuff for Age of Sigmar. It's just
Yeah.
once you're part of once you get that, the first hit is free. Once you're in, you're kind of in. It's hey Caleb, how's it going, my friend? Dropping a tier 1 sub for 4 years of friendship. Thank you so much for all the support. Yeah, so like when they, once you're in, you're in, and if it's your army that you love, and they just keep releasing stuff you love, is anyone truly upset? The people who
I'm
aren't
not.
getting the stuff they love, yes, but like,
Yeah.
if you're always getting the things like, if they just dropped a new like a new model, every like 6 months for your army, regardless, just some alternate sculpt or whatever. I know they do a little bit with Space Marines, but if they do that with like your army, most people wouldn't be too upset about that. In fact, I think that would be a really, really nice way of rotating out some of the crappy Finecast shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Actually, me and my friend Nick were talking about this, like, because he plays, he was playing like ogres and giants and everything. He was talking about, like, I just want destruction to get more stuff because they got like all this, they haven't gotten much love or anything, and bone splitters need an update and everything. Like, bone splitters are pretty nice. They're in some places, like, yeah, but look at all these cool models everybody's getting. Like,
yeah,
I've been in love with Slaanesh. I get the haves and have nots.
Yep.
I get it. I know it sucks, buddy, but
yeah.
there's people still with Finecast that have, they're like, well, flesh eaters need it. I'm like, flesh eaters have like they just got the new Vargolf whenever that gets separated, if it ever does. But other than
They
that, they're
said
plastic.
they said in the community article that that down the line they hope to be releasing the
Yeah,
sprues in a more limited run, because
yeah.
what we all
Whenever that
kind
happens.
we were trying to warn people that it was going to be a one-off, and like people were telling, like, a lot of the content creators who
Yeah,
don't have NDAs and stuff like that, but knew about it. We were all like, "Yo, this could be a one-off. This could be a one-off," and we were trying to like warn people. I don't like doing shit like that, because despite doing the like sort of fiscally responsible episode with Soren and Martin
yeah.
and Coach a couple weeks back, I don't like giving people purchasing advice. I don't. I am horrible. Like, I am not a good person to like model purchasing hobbies off of. Like I said, I just bought all of OBR 2 years whenever they came out. I don't know. Like 2020 is dead space in my mind. But when that came out, I bought the whole range. When I would have bought all of Slaanesh if I didn't know Soulblight was coming this close. And as it stands, I already have a pretty good Slaanesh collection. I've, thanks to you in part, and my own hubris as well. I'm like, well, I could buy a couple boxes. Like that's not going to set me back
What's a few?
too far.
Just get a little bit more.
Yeah,
Just a little bit more.
and there's that part of my brain that's like, okay, the Skeleton Warriors, they don't get a new War Scroll. Skeleton Warriors are Skeleton Warriors are Skeleton Warriors, and I'm like, I have literally 100 of them right now. Literally 100 Skeleton Warriors, and I'm like, yeah, but these are the new sculpts, and I'm like, am I gonna buy 80 of the new ones? And I'm just like, I'm just already in my mind like, I'm like, God, I'm gonna buy 80 of the new ones, aren't I? Like,
Obviously, yeah.
in my brain, I'm just like, and the frugal person would be like, nah, I'm good. I can buy a box of them, layer them in, and then I can save my money to buy Slaanesh stuff, because I hope to have all my OBR, all my Slaanesh, and all my Soulblight done within like the next couple years, basically. I've got the hobby
Yeah.
set up. We're ready to go. If I didn't have like these real life speed bumps of like ER trips and funerals and shit like that, I probably would have started hobby streaming right after my birthday. That was the intent. That was kind of like the turn the page moment for me. And
Yeah.
and like so like how could I tell somebody to like what to do with an army purchase and stuff? But the point is once you're in, you're sort of like you're always finding stuff to purchase. If Slaanesh didn't come out, and it was just Ossiarch Bone Reapers, I'd have bought another 20 Mortek Guard. I would have, bought another Blood Bowl team. Like like you always
Yeah.
find once you're a hobbyist, you're always finding models to buy. And
I
so,
bought
go ahead.
River City just for the Vargolf, and then that one noble person turned him into a Slaanesh Painbringer. Lord of Pain, I mean.
Yeah.
Like I don't even really care about playing the game. I just wanted those models so I could do something with them. And I was never creative till I got into this hobby. And this hobby just once you start getting into it, like you're gonna find that you're gonna look at models and be like, I want that for a whole other purpose and start doing something with it.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 I was lucky with the LRL stuff because I don't even know if I would buy the first wave, even if I could, even though there are a lot of amazing models there. It still felt incomplete, but now that we have some beautiful melee heroes and those Blade Lords, I'm 100% buying it when I'm able. Yeah, and I mean with everything, I think patience is ultimately, the advice I could follow, but it's the advice I would unsolicited give.
The best advice, as we talked about.
Right, as we've established this episode tonight. Like patience when you're jumping into an army. When you want to get into an army, you want to buy it all. You want to own it all. Like take some patience
Yeah.
because by the time you finally jump in, maybe something else has caught your attention. Like really take your time, figure out what you want, what your sensibilities are, and then buy it. There's once you're in, you're in. You're gonna find new sculpts to buy for your existing army. Maybe you have a conversion idea, so you find yourself buying some Alarielle and so on and so forth. Like that always happens. I'm not so upset that Games Workshop keeps releasing models. Like
No.
they're a model company. I take them at their word in good faith that they believe they're a model company first, and they continue to release new models. So I'm like, okay, cool. I forgive some of the other stuff. Um, the problem I have is anti-consumer stuff, and for me, the LRL reeked a little bit of that. This doesn't reek of that. This is going to be one box with a war scroll that you can get easily in 3 or 4 different ways. You know,
Yeah.
and
I like to circle us back to story, and I'm sorry for cutting you off.
no, go on, no,
It's
go
just
on, no, cut
not
me off as much as you need, man.
but no, I think they strictly did this. It wasn't supposed to be in the book because it's not. The book came out before the story came out, and this is how it was happening. Like they're telling a story at the same time as producing models and having a game for everybody. They're balancing 3 different things. And as somebody that likes the narrative and story, I'm okay with this happening.
Mhm,
It's cool because the book didn't have this story that we're about ready to get where these models come in.
mhm. Yeah,
So why would it be in the book? I don't know. That's how I maybe I'm simping for can't say that. Maybe I'm just defending a company for bad practices or
standing.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but I personally don't have a problem with it. The way I see it is the book didn't have the story in it. The models needed the story to be here. And I'm happy with the models. I'm excited for these models. I was so happy with this model. I blew up Kelly's phone about it while she was at work. Didn't care that she was at work. I had to blow up her phone about it. My whole day was like, I had other responsibilities that I needed to get done, but I was like, I'm going to just start painting Slaanesh today.
yeah,
That's all I want to do now.
yeah, yeah. Um, El Ben Diaz. Um, so long as this box is not suddenly limited run after release like Curse City was. Um, I I think Vince had a really good take on this. On I don't know if it's this show or the last show. Um, he thinks something happened. Like he thinks that they did plan for like a real release, and he thinks something worth doing all those extreme actions truly happened. And I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I want to get in the habit of like telling me you're going to release something and support it, and I'm going to have a new Warhammer quest, and we're going to get little expansion packs down the line, and so on and so forth. Like how much of that was my expectations, and how much of that was promised by them? I have to go back and reevaluate that. But yeah, like it stinks. It stinks. I'm
Yeah.
happy I got my box. I think Chat Gang's got a few extras circulating around, so if you missed out on yours, I know there's some folks in Chat Gang in the Discord that'd be willing to like barter or sell it to you, sell their extras or whatever it is, so that
I'm
you're
gonna give 2 away on my YouTube channel
there. You go.
whenever I hit a
Yeah,
number. Yeah. So
yeah. So Mars is going to be reading through all the Broken Realm stuff over on his YouTube channel and do a giveaway. Not to put you in a corner.
you're no, I
Nobody
put it
puts
on
Mars
Twitter.
in
I'm
the
like,
corner.
I was like 500 subscribers. I'll do it because that's I'm a slow growing. So like 500, that's gonna give a while. That way the boxes are super valuable. And eventually someone's gonna remember about the tweet. I'm like, oh shit, go
Yeah.
subscribe. 500 in like a year and a half, and I'll give it away. I'm like, I can't believe people still had these.
Yeah, yeah. See, unlike me, I basically obscure the fact that I'm doing a giveaway and wait till the show is over. Don't mention it until the end of it.
That's not how you bribe people to show up.
I
New
know.
people don't.
I know.
You're doing bribery wrong.
I know.
Unbelievable!
Unbelievable. Thank you so much for the follow there. I heard a UPC issue was the problem. I heard everything. The rumors I have heard from that sort of like second tier, like not the initial tier of insiders, but that sort of second tier of people. So now it's hearsay. Now you need to corroborate that second tier, right? So if we're being a journalist, so we're not being a journalist right now. We're just being a rumor engine.
They have rumor engines, so do we.
Yeah, no, I heard everything from UPC issue to a fire to broken molds. Like
Yeah.
I've heard like some dispute with China. Like I've heard a lot like something about like tax
Trade laws.
yeah, trade laws, like because they imported the product is more because of the cardboard it's more import than export. Like I've heard like 6 different stories now for why they did this that way.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree I don't think they intended to do it this way, or that this wasn't what they were. If this is what they were intending to do to begin with, this is not what they were selling us on initially. They made it seem like we were. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't think like they wanted it just for a limited run at first.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was some. My guess would be there was some talk about having this as an ongoing thing, and somebody jumped some guns before everything was like 100% signed off.
Hmm.
And I've seen it quite a bit. Like there's starts off as like some talks, and someone's like, oh well, I'm just gonna get ahead of it because it seems like this is a sure thing. Then the last minute, someone's like, you know what, never mind.
Yeah.
Or like a group of people like, you know, we got all these other things we need to focus on instead because we lost a year.
Yeah.
But
yeah. No, I think that they want your money, and that selling more Curse City was going to make them more money. And however they shot themselves in the foot, I don't know. I think they wanted to take your money and sell you Curse City, though. I think that much is true, and to what extent, I don't even want to speculate. I'm happy I got mine because for me this is Hero Quest. Like I wanted Hero Quest again.
they could be pulling the old Nintendo move too, where scarcity, not doing it anymore.
Well, yeah, force scarcity to
Yeah.
drive sales. Yeah, they could be doing a force scarcity thing to drive sales, and they're like, "Surprise! It's out for Christmas!" And then everyone's like, "We hate you, Games Workshop," as they like throw their money at their fucking screens. Like,
take my damn money, you sons of bitches.
I hate you so much for doing this to me, and they're just like throwing money at their fucking monitors. Like, yeah, I know, I hate them too.
I hate them as I enter my credit card information, sobbing to myself.
Yeah, like crying and drinking like an extra soda water or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Manzak, trade laws make sense. My company had issues with product being made in China and it being listed here as something that isn't allowed. Lots and lots of money lost on the product because of a mess up with online listing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's above my pay grade. I usually just talk about like games and rules and like philosophy a little bit and life lessons and narrative. So, Segue. Look at that. Yeah, look at that.
Beautifully done.
Yeah, look
I'd
at
like
that.
to say.
Yeah, masterful segue.
It's even better when you point it out so everybody understands what happened. Like, so everybody's on board.
Yeah. So I kind of want to recap going back to Wrath of the Everchosen because I feel like the end of the Soul Wars begins with Wrath of the Everchosen. Second edition was essentially marked by the Necroquake and Nagash's ambitions. And for me, Nagash's ambitions culminate with the end point, with the arc terminus, with actually taking away one of the 8 points from Archeon.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
go ahead.
I just want to clarify. You said you said the end of the Soul Wars was at Archeon.
No,
I
think the culmination of Nagash's ambitions is there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The end of the Soul Wars is Teclis. Like that's the end. That's how it's marketed. That's how it's advertised. That's the implication. I think that like because you have a peak, a climax, and you have some falling action.
Yeah.
We have
I just misheard you. So.
Yeah. So in terms of like narrative structure, like the peak for me was the arc terminus. Like was Wrath of the Everchosen. That was the peak. That was the climax, and then like we got some falling action, and then they pretty much go into like their next sort of 3-act structure or 4-act or whatever type of structure they're working with. However they model their narrative from like the top down. However they do it. But we essentially then like we get some falling action. And you got to think of it like a little like heartbeat, or like climbing a mountain. That's how narratives are structured. You start low, and then it spikes and like with little valleys and peaks as you go along. You should get, your climax is your highest point, and as soon as you peak at the highest point in the story, wrap it up as quick as possible. So that's the falling action.
Yeah.
Some story structures don't even believe in falling action, and fuck those guys. But
what you don't like to end at the peak?
No, I don't. I kind
you want
of
to be brought down?
Yeah, no, I want to be brought down. I want that moment of levity. I want that moment to process. Like you think about Annihilation if you haven't seen it. A very boring movie, but a beautiful boring movie that will make you think if you care to. Like that, the climax in that film probably arguably happens about like half an hour before like the movie's sort of like point, and then it's sort of consequent falling action. Like it does this weird thing with the narrative structure where I think that the actual climax in that film happens before the like sort of resolution, and then the resolution happens, and then we get falling action. And I'm like, because if you're looking in terms of like tempo and culmination of multiple plots, because it's got a bunch of plots going on, and like where those all culminate, it's like I look at the narrative and I go, it happens right here, and then it kind of like comes down a little, and it goes back up a little bit, but it never hits higher than that point earlier on. And I think that was very deliberate because the nature of I'm a word nerd. I'm a writer. I usually don't let that side of me out too often. But we're talking narrative, so I get to let it out a little bit more.
Yeah. That's why I picked the show. So you can do most of the talking. I get to just listen to your sweet, silky voice.
There you go. So with for Wrath of the Everchosen, the peak of for me Nagash's story is that we had two new armies released, right? We had Ossiarch Bone Reapers and we had Night Haunt over the course of sort of like what was 1.5, right, with Night Haunt sort of foreshadowing 2.0 and then coming out and being in that starter box for 2.0 with Stormcast Eternals, the Sacrosanct Chamber, right? So Night Haunt, I know it technically came up before 2.0, but I'm going to mark that as because they were in the starter set for 2.0, I'm calling them a 2.0 release.
We call Daughters of Cain 2.0 a 2.0 army.
Yeah.
We could call Night Haunt.
Yeah, there's a way you could be technically correct, and I am technically wrong, but I can be technically correct in this way. So I'm going to go with the way that I'm correct. They were in the starter box for 2.0. And then we get like Ossiarch Bone Reapers or OBR, sort of in near the tail end, right?
Yeah.
And both those armies are featured super prominently in Wrath of the Everchosen. They do stuff, and they do something that hasn't been done, right? Like this big assault on the all points, and they succeed. Now, there's some pushback. Obviously, Archeon shows up and says, nah, you can't take the main fortress. Catacross goes, good. I didn't want to anyway, loser. And that's kind of where we
That's
leave
not
off.
how I would describe it, but yes, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
Yeah, like he's
That's
the
how you
deep.
want to summarize it.
Yeah, yeah. He's like didn't want to anyway, loser. And then we kind of end on a little bit like Catacrow staring at his just thousands of perfectly sculpted cod pieces that he can. He's like, I'm in this for the long haul, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but Wrath of the Everchosen, where we have Alarielle Alarielle shows up in Alarielle shows up in Morathi.
Morathi and Teclis.
Right. And Morathi is calls back to Wrath of the Everchosen with Morathi showing up and bribing Catacross with special bones.
Yeah. They're special. The special bones. You can't get these bones.
Yeah.
But I can get these bones for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I really like that too. With the story, especially with these Broken Realm stories, I'm really liking this cross faction interaction.
Yes.
That we're seeing a lot of. With okay, I'm not gonna get into spoilers yet, but yeah, with Morathi and Catacross meeting and wait. Nagash's plan is to kill everybody living and kill all those gods, right? Like Catacross here is like, I'm on an objective. I got some leeway, and I'm gonna make this deal because in the end it's helping me, and it's gonna end up screwing you over.
Well,
it's probably what he's thinking. Like long term, I'm benefiting.
I don't get the whilst I think Nagash, for his purposes with the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, he let them keep a modicum of free will because he viewed it as necessary for the long-term plan. Like he needed agents that could go out and do stuff without direct orders from him at all times. He knew what's the inevitability of the things in motion.
Yeah.
And I don't get the impression that Catacross does stuff without Nagash ultimately being okay with it in the end.
That's what I think. That's why I'm thinking. He made this deal. He's not making this deal just for the short-term gain of these special bones,
right? And he probably meant he was probably meaning to assault the fort, the main fort again anyway for kicks. He was just keep them on their heel, they're churning out their bone factories. It's you're gonna give me special bones to do what I was about to do anyway? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and so really he's just gaining stuff that he would have he's gonna do it anyway. So what he's still benefiting. And special bones are special. Right. They might come back to haunt Morathi later. I don't know. Well, you finish up this 8 points and we go clean up some old goo area with these special bones.
Right. Well, what I hope, and this is zoomed out, way long picture. I hope that that other factions. So how do you keep the conflict going in the Mortal Realms? Because obviously, if they end it, then we have to make a new game, and who wants to do that?
Yeah.
The way you make the conflict continue to perpetuate is you can unseat the Everchosen from the All Points if a bunch of different factions who want to fight with each other to take it end up taking the various 8 points, right?
Yeah.
And now they're in close, locked, constant conflict to rule it all, right? That can be your sort of your wave 2 of the Age of Sigmar. It's okay, how the heck does Sigmar take the 8 points from the orcs have 3 of them, Death has a couple, and there's 2 that keep just trading hands, Nurgle's still got a stronghold there, and how do you navigate all that? Go ahead.
I don't think I would like that story personally.
Okay, that's fair.
It just become focused just on the 8 points and trying to take the 8
That's
points.
super fair. That's a super fair point.
It's feel like it's just gonna be a smaller scale 40k where Chaos just wants to take over Terra.
Yeah.
That's where their focus is at. And everything's after that. I'm like,
I immediately regret what I
40K
said.
40k is cool and all, but I know the end goal for them. I know what they want.
Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah, no, you're not wrong. I mean, the only point I'm really trying to make is there's ways that you don't want them to end Age of Sigmar's plot.
Yeah.
Right. If Nagash if Nagash wins, it's the game's over. Like game over, man. Game over. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
if you know it really if Chaos wins, it's kind of over, but then eventually, there's a spark of humanity will find its way back into like the mortals that are still around.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of corrupted immortals, and then one guy's like, yeah, I don't like being corrupted anymore. And then, they start to fight back. You can still tell a story if Chaos wins, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can still tell a story if Destruction wins, because then it's just like a post-apocalypse setting, like the tornado. It's like after Twister, or after...
Does anybody lose if
Yeah.
Destruction wins? Like, nobody really loses that one.
They don't have like a true agenda at the end of the day. Like they're just like they've smashed and bashed everything into oblivion, and then like they start smashing and bashing each other, and then like while they're not paying attention, civilization starts to like crop up and grow around the,
they're a force of nature. You don't lose to a force of nature. Well, you do, but you don't in the grand like everybody's dead
right
scale. Like they're a force of nature. They're gonna come in. They're gonna win.
Yeah.
And then you just wait till they win somewhere else, and you start taking care of yourself again.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're kind of like the Fallout the Fallout ending, right? Like that's the Fallout ending is the the 1950s, like the Cold War boom, all that happens. That's the orcs, but then we all live in the vaults for a little bit, and then the civilization comes out, and like there's orcs places and like rad orcs and stuff like that, where they're all like radioactive orcs and like that's
mutant orcs.
Yeah, like that's they have a town where they worship a nuclear bomb that didn't detonate. Like that, that's what the ending looks like if Destruction wins. But you still get to play Age of Sigmar. You know what I'm saying? Like if with most of these endings, if Order wins, it's only a matter of time before Chaos shows back up, because like humanity inevitably like gives into their baser emotions and invites sort of evil back in. They might have. I mean, they could probably totally destroy Death. I would think that like in the good end for Order, like they could probably finally finish Nagash off and like turn the like realm of the dead back over to what it's supposed to be, which is this organic, ever growing. With enough people believing in the afterlife, those all crop. Like that would happen without Nagash like co-opting it all.
Yeah. Well, so the Necro. So I'm a little fuzzy with what Teclis did to end the Necroquake and whatnot, right? Did he reverse literally everything so endless spells aren't a thing? Because that's what the Necroquake helped with.
I think that they're here now. Go on.
Yeah, so they're here now. But if they're here, that means he didn't get rid of everything. So what else isn't reversed? Is Nagash still like channeling death through him? So if he still is, how you gonna kill Death?
Yeah,
you can't really kill the guy now anymore because he's Death.
I am become Death. Right? Yeah, like he's yeah. I mean, I think it's that the pulses of the Necroquake and stuff have stopped because the ruin that
was my take, and there's other people that disagree. Like, no, they took care of everything. Like, I don't know how you got to that point when there's still stuff.
Yeah,
in the game
the Shyish Nadir is still at the center of Shyish, like pulling in all the like Death Soul energy.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's like actively pulsing and doing stuff anymore. Teclis stemmed the tide of the Nadir, so it's not pulsing anymore.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. But there's some out there, disagreeing with that.
I mean, endless spells are still going to be around. I suspect because they're just like they're here now. But like the active like sort of like ebb and flow of like the pulse goes out and then pulls stuff in. That's stopped. Yeah. Right. Like and that's Albendius, pretty much exactly what Albendius has said here. Teclis stemmed the tide of the Shyish Nadir, so it's like it's at the middle, but it's not pulsing anymore.
Pulsing, yeah.
So Nagasha's power has been struck back into the realm of death only, and can't leak out and ebb into the other realms.
Yeah.
So like so all the Night Haunt and stuff isn't just like erupting from out of like all the graveyards at all times, and it's not like an apocalyptic event. The portent. The malign portents that foreshadow this horrible stuff. So Vanilla Sauce says, I resent the idea that they might not be smashing and bashing each other while smashing and bashing the enemies.
That's a fair point.
It's a fair, like, I'm sorry. No,
Shame on that our bad.
I
My
didn't
bad.
mention it because I felt like it was just obvious that it was happening. Like I felt like I didn't need to mention it. like, so yeah, so I kind of reset us to like the Wrath of the Everchosen. I think most people up till this point understand roughly what's going on in Age of Sigmar. Your Age of Myth, your Age of Chaos, Age of Sigmar when the things come down, and then Necroquake happens. And for me, again, just to reset it a little bit, the sort of peak of Nagash's arc is the arc terminus, taking one of the 8 points, accruing all this power. He is the god of death, and he's on to his next plan, right? He's scheming. We've got the arc terminus sitting there. Katakros has some alluded to plans that we don't know what's going on, and we really don't know what Nagash's next plan is. So the Broken Realms, and I'm going to let you kind of take over. Do the zoomed out, this is what happened here, this is what happened here, this is what happened here, the broad stroke, and we'll zoom in and get more granular.
Yeah, Broken Realms Morathi, zoomed out. Morathi wants to become a god, has a few plans, goes in the 8 points, steals some molten stone, realm stone stuff, puts it in her cauldron, does a nice little ritual, while also stealing a nice little lantern from Ideneth. They're all about their lights there. Jumps into Slaanesh's body. He's like, I'm gonna eat up all these nice elf souls, nice and strong. Gets cut in two by, we believe, an ex-lover. You know.
Yeah.
How bad breakups happen.
Yeah.
Cut her in half.
No, it's a perfect.
Out.
Is it not a perfect metaphor for like someone you truly loved when it's over? Are we not all cut in half, metaphorically speaking?
You're right. Morathi's just a giant metaphor.
Yeah.
For bad breakups. You get cut in half and you step out of that relationship as a god.
Yeah. But you got it, like you step out of it and you step out of it a god. That's right. That's the
Yeah, so yeah, she finishes the ritual, jumps out of Slaanesh. I must say, this is what I really like about Age of Sigmar. This crazy shit just bouncing off the walls. Like, you know what we should do for that story? Morathi jumps back into Slaanesh. The thing that ate her, the god, jumps back in and starts eating the souls herself. Just bringing them in to become a god too. This is some high level stuff. Love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she jumps out, becomes a god, and sacks my favorite city of Sigmar was Anvilgard. Goes there and just sacks the place and takes it over. There's a little bit of fighting back from order, but they snuff that out real fast.
So do we know, game-wise, can you play Anvilgard anymore? Is it still legal to play your Anvilgard army? I mean, this is a question I've had for a little bit. Like, has their change in the narrative meant that like somebody's Anvilgard list is now tournament illegal? I mean, obviously, as a TO, I'd let you play your Anvilgard army regardless of what GW says. But did they go to that extent? Anvilgard is still legal. Okay.
Yeah, that's legal. It would be funny if they did go to that extent.
That would be fun. That would be fun. I would like the little bit of a light middle finger to people.
Yeah. Kicker, I do have models on my stand. I have the Twin Souls I've been kit bashing slightly. I cut off the faces to put my masks on for the Eternal Masquerade. Gave them some Flaming Skull, Lightning Ball, and
are those magnetized there?
Yeah.
Right on. Even GW says you can play Anvilgard as like rebel remnants of the old city. Right on.
Yeah.
Anvilgard more like Anvil caught off guard. Ayo. Nice.
Why didn't they think this ally was not gonna try to kill them all and betray them? Yeah. Stupid. But yeah, that's like a far out view of Morathi. It's honestly, God, that story of Morathi made me pick up Daughters of Cain again for a little bit, and I was like, what am I doing? Well, wasn't what was I doing? Slaanesh got announced Mortals. I'm like, well, that's happened to me twice so far. I picked up Daughters of Cain and Slaanesh gets announced. So all I'm learning is pick up Daughters of Cain when I want new models.
Yeah. Were you looking at a Morathi box and then they released the twins? Was that what happened? Like,
Yeah. Come to think of it, I think I was like a few days before. I was like, I'd like to do Morathi again. That was a fun model to paint.
yeah, Fluke Skywalker dropping 1,000 RDP to remind everyone, Chat Gang ain't nothing to fuck with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's the zoomed out Morathi. I'm trying to remember like what the implications were for Morathi. She's a god. Now there's the new city of Sigmar.
Well, the epilogue more or less was the unborn of Slaanesh was injected.
Right,
So,
the newborn or whatever, right?
The newborn, yeah.
And it was set somewhere, and that's where Sigvald shows up and is like, "I'm gonna go. I want to show up and be fabulous and wonderful." And then Slaanesh whispers in Sigvald's ear, like, "Fine, I'll go find the newborn."
No, so with Sigvald, what happened was, I know for some reason people keep getting this story mixed up, and it bugs me slightly because I love Sigvald.
No, go on, set it straight.
So he was trapped in the mirror that we all heard about.
Because Nagash has fantastic punishments, and this was fantastic.
Yeah, and he made the punishment was like when anybody looked in the mirror, they'd see like the most idealized version of themselves. But over time, it's hard to contain somebody as strong-willed as Sigvald, and he turned it so when people looked at it, they'd see themselves like as super ugly. But that comes later. Some Duradin go in, find them. Some why am I blanking on their name?
Caradron.
They fly. Yes, thank you. Overlords go in. They find the mirror and like they become obsessive with it. They like so obsessed with it, like they start turning on each other. And then some God Seekers show up and kill them and take the mirror. And the leader of the God Seekers look in the mirror and they see just the hideousness of themselves and throw it and shatter the glass. And Sigvald gets reborn because Slaanesh was so impressed at like his ability to get free that blessed him again.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the second time Sigvald has been reborn. He was dead, just a soul, and he gets reborn from Slaanesh and still not a demon prince.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah, I think it was even kind of mentioned that he was like the demon prince before they walked it back a little bit. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club with what's her name? Kalia?
Volkia the Bloody.
Yeah, Volkia. Yeah.
Yeah.
The club of should be demon princes but aren't, or should have demon keywords but don't.
Yeah. It's a shame, but it is what it is. I guess. I mean, if he was a demon too, he'd just be way too strong. Like his model's already too good.
Yeah.
If you look at it just appearance wise, you can't give him the demon keyword. That'd just break reality. Calm ourselves. But I mean that's the gist of the story. Most people skip over the part that like the Duradin didn't break the glass. It was like the God Seekers found them, like because they're looking for Slaanesh, and there was like a Slaaneshi over there. Yeah. And go over there, and there's like, oh, kill these guys, and look, found a cool mirror.
Well, so one of the other implications of Morathi was that the chains were weakened, though. Doing this ritual, go on.
It's helping. A lot of people are helping Slaanesh break free at this point. You got Archeon, you got the Stormcast who went around slaughtering a whole city that helped. You got now Morathi with her ritual going in there, messing up the elf stuff. Which
Teclis taking his eye off the ball to go fuck with Nagash. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, we can move into like the high overview of Teclis, where Teclis just. So the funny thing about, like, I was talking with Doug about this, like, how long after the Necroquake, the original Necroquake, does the prologue begin? Settlers Gain.
Mm-hmm.
And from what we could gather, me and him talking, like, it happens right away.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, that just means these are like Wild Night Hunt, right? with some leaders that just pop up.
Mhm.
Nagash didn't send them there or anything like that. So
Right.
if this is just wild night haunt, Teclis sees this and it's like, fucking Nagash sending these ghosts after this town. Fuck him. I mean, I get the anger towards him. Like, yeah, Nagash is fucking with shit he probably shouldn't be, but like he straight up like saying like this was an attack. Like Nagash hasn't done that yet. He's going to, but he technically hasn't done this yet because this is just wild night haunt
Yeah.
popping up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he wants Nagash to answer for his crimes, and I find that deliciously quaint because Teclis, if there is a single order individual who has fucked more things up, I can't list one. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Like, and I'm not even talking about the absentee dad thing where he went out to get a pack of smokes and never came back. Like as Teclis is still the same old elf, arrogant as ever. Even a small assault of random night haunt is a stain he cannot abide. Like he's such a punk. What a absolute punk ass.
No, and like I see a lot of people like talking about like Teclis, like, oh, how great like it was, like, oh, it's about inspiring him. Like, I don't know how you got that takeaway. Like, I hear he says this stuff. I get like on the surface that's what people are getting, but
Yeah.
when I look at like, I think he's just pissed. He's just like nobody should be doing anything that I don't approve of type of thing.
Yeah, he's incited that like people he doesn't approve of having magic, having magic. Like he's just such a Tyrion's kind of dope. I don't actually bear I didn't understand why people hated Teclis until Broken Realms Teclis. I never quite got it. I wasn't really around for the end times, so I'm still piecing together what all happened in the end times. But
brief overview, Teclis does a lot of fucked up shit. I mean, he helped bring Nagash back, so there's that.
Yeah. Teclis still isn't as bad as his old self because he don't have any knees to kill. He can't kill his own family.
Yet.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Tyrion probably wasn't actually blind until Teclis and them found each other, and he's like, you know what I should do? Just take out your eyes, because I think that'd be cool.
Well, I get the distinct impression Teclis isn't really Teclis. I was reading and maybe my memory has co-opted the story because I can't find the story again. But I thought it was in the original Alarielle book I was reading, where I got the impression that Tyrion is real and Teclis is Tyrion's memory of Teclis.
Doing some Seraphon stuff, bringing memories alive.
Yeah, I got the impression that that Teclis was a memory and Tyrion is because Tyrion's roaming through Hysh and essentially gets to the end and sees the face of God, the Hyshian god deity entity thing, and goes blind and remembers some stuff, and Teclis that's how Teclis kind of came into existence.
I don't think Teclis was ever a Phoenix King, but
no,
joke's
on you. Malekith was. Get wrecked, loser.
Malekith, the rightful leader.
Yeah, the proper leader of all elves. If you can't tell, I'm team Malekith / Malarian. I don't know. So the Teclis overview is essentially he goes and he ends the Soul Wars, right? Do we get?
That's pretty much yeah.
I mean,
there's no win for no win. There's not even really anything to talk about what Death did because it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So there was an attempt.
I mean, that makes sense because they didn't get anything in Broken Realms Teclis either. They didn't do anything. So why?
Technically.
What? Did they get something? No, I don't remember. I seem to remember them getting nothing, and they had a page that was just blank that said Flesh Eater Courts, and then
you got a box set,
and then Ossiarch Bone Reapers got a thing that was just it's Ossiarch Bone Reapers get, and then it was just one of the writers like tracing their middle finger on the page, and that's what they got.
Yeah. And a box set.
The box set
You
is
can't
really
forget about the box.
the box
Yeah.
sets are super value, but they didn't get rules that matter.
No, not at all. But yeah, that's the overview of Teclis's Wild Night Hunt attack a city, and Teclis is like, you know what? This means Nagash has to die.
Right.
That's
Well, does okay, so the Light of Eltharion kills Archon the Black. Like
yeah,
oh,
that's
like
impressive.
like he kills Archon the Black, so like they're like on the chalkboard it's 1-1, right? Like so they're even now on the scoreboard. And Nagash, the rune that binds and like the Nadir, I didn't get the impression that Nagash is dead, like cuz how could
No.
he be?
No.
But I did
So
like, and I love Doug's take. I'm gonna paraphrase Doug, but he said like, so Teclis goes to fight Nagash, and Nagash beats the nerd out of him.
yeah,
like
the
go on.
he does. It's pretty. Oh, it's pretty freaking cool.
So like when Nagash
Mostly 'cause
beats
I
you
like
up, you get
Teclis.
cooler apparently.
Well, no, I mean it's pretty cool hearing, reading that Nagash is beaten. I'm not a fan of Teclis after this story because I think
the
it's mostly
hubris.
because
Is it like the hubris or?
honestly I think it's because I keep hearing people like, people defending Teclis, like his plans and everything. Like, no, it's all about hope and all for hope. I'm like, man, you don't send Rant. First off, Teclis is not that smart apparently, because sending out random riders to random villages like, here's the head of OBR, people have hope. Like, you didn't. What intel did you do on those towns? Did you even see if people were complaining, or maybe they're so used to it that the idea of all this change all of a sudden is terrifying to them, and having random ass fucking elves ride up to them is not going to inspire hope of like, what hell did you just unleash onto us? Because now they're gonna think we're part of you guys bringing in these dead OBR.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, probably the stories probably didn't have enough time to go into it, but those are my thoughts. Like, you could have had a brief summary of like, all the people of Shadish wanted this or something.
Yeah.
Like a sentence or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, random town. I just made the OBR really mad. Get ready for a crackdown. Like, see,
Yeah.
aren't you happy you've been saved? And then they just leave.
Yeah. Like, we have saved you. Now go back to your lives with those people we saved you from.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Like, what, like as Doug was saying, like they weren't going in there to like attack or take over. So they just went in just to piss everybody off. Is what I got. They're not reading like, okay, so why did you do it? To piss them off? That was the end goal. It's not to inspire hope. You went in there to piss them off. You kicked a hornet's nest because you're upset over random night hunt attacking a city. As Alarielle kept telling Tech, like, there's bigger things going on. Like, what are you doing? This is just gonna pass. You need to stop.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is kind of cool is Teclis, like the Broken Realms Teclis feels like a story of consequences, which I think is pretty cool on both sides. Teclis has, like, he sows consequences for the actions he does, like, across the whole narrative of that book. Like,
I like
there's going to be consequences for the towns. There's going to be consequences. Go on. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Go on.
Like, throughout all Soul Wars, we just see Nagash doing things, and that has been my complaint for a while. Like who's standing up to Nagash? Like, that's why I find death boring. Like, who's standing up to him? Nobody's doing anything. People are just letting it happen.
Yeah.
So I did like that. Like, Teclis goes in and is like, you can't do this. I'm going to make you answer for what you're doing. Because it's not a hope thing. I think that was just what he was saying. He went in there like, you can't do this, and if you're going to keep doing this, look what I can do to you too. You're not untouchable. I can come in here and I can touch you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot. And then Teclis gets some consequences too, and the guy's like, yeah, well.
Yeah. Sup, nerd.
Like, you might be able to touch me, but I will break you.
Yeah. Well, and what it is to your point that you talk about, like, Nagash is unopposed. Like, I get what you're saying. I hear this a lot. And I'm not disagreeing here. I'm just filling in periphery around this notion.
Yeah.
we didn't see narrative books released like this during 2.0. I suspect had we seen this release, that perception would have shifted a little bit. Like, oh yeah, like stuff's happening, right?
Yeah.
Like if we had like a couple Black Library series that actually dealt directly with like the Soul Wars a little bit more, that were a little bit more ubiquitous or a little bit more known and commonplace, and if the battle tomes had actually referenced, like the battle tomes all like, oh, when the Necroquake happened, the army did this, but it doesn't like say anything about like, oh, they gave the middle finger to Nagash and they went and did this stuff. They're like, since the Necroquake, the army's been doing this, and like they didn't really really, they made the Necroquake backdrop like a setting thing. They didn't make it a narrative action, you know?
Yeah,
And that was, I think, a mistake. Because, like, you would think that there would be more active participation. Because, like you said with your conversation with Doug, apparently the Necroquake happens and Teclis immediately, like, goes into action, right? Like, and so, like, we got this, the way the books were released, we have this huge delay, when in actuality there wasn't a delay. People did step to like, I don't know. Like,
it's a perception thing, and that's the perception I had up to this point,
right.
where it's like, well, now that there's something going on, I'm like, oh, okay, I feel better about death now. It just felt like this is just ridiculous, because you had Forbidden Power pop off too, where it's like death just went in and just stole that soul. Nobody's doing anything about it. Like they tried, and well, they got away type of thing. Like, darn that. Like that's how it came off at the end. I'm like, okay, cool story and all, but where is this going? And then we got OBR, who then took, the Ark's terminus, which is really freaking cool.
I think that's super.
My army's narrative is they're going there to go kick them out. Like, might as well go make a name for ourselves. Take back what was lost.
You're only as cool as your like opponent or as your villain. Like, you think about all like the great stories in history, they tend to have a great villain. It's just it just makes it, a good villain really helps set up, like, some of like the best superheroes. Why are they the best superheroes? Because they have like the coolest villains.
Spider-Man isn't known for beating Mysterio.
Green Goblin, right?
Yeah.
Like, like an intellectual, like, equal if not superior, with greater access to resources and technology and stuff like that. And the Sinister Six run is when Spider-Man, some of the people say it's the best Spider-Man runs were out, when it's like he had villains were just villains times 6. Like, and that was you look at like even like the TV shows or the movies and stuff like that, like Thanos in the Avengers, like as by freaking Josh Brolin, like that Thanos elevates Endgame so much.
Oh yeah, no,
or not
yeah.
Endgame, like Infinity Wars and Endgame.
Endgame,
I think gets some negative criticism. There's no way it could have been as good as Infinity War, though, because Infinity War was the one where shit goes wrong, right? And so the shit going wrong is naturally going to be a little bit better story than shit goes right.
Well, I mean, like, so talking about climax and stuff, the end of Infinity War was the climax for Endgame.
Yeah, and then it's falling. Essentially, like, resolution, quote unquote, is what we call it. And then it's just resolution. And the resolution, like, so you have your climax. The snap is the climax, and you get a little bit of falling action, watching people get dusted, and then like, okay, what do we do now? Right, boom, boom, falling action, and then your other thing goes like this on its little, supposed to be going on an up, because your falling action probably ends up pretty low, and then you're like on this little thing trying to work back up to the peak, and it never gets to that peak of the snap.
No.
It gets to a good amount of spectacle. The moment where all the portals open up, that's great spectacle. And one of my favorite, I have the actual whole run of Infinity Wars comics. I used to have them in papers. I've got the big legacy hardcover now. But one of the best moments in that is when Captain America goes, like, he really is just buying time, but he like gets into a slugfest with Thanos.
Yeah.
And like, they captured that moment 1,000% of the movie. I'm like, if there's one scene you got to get right in this run, and he straps and the shield is broken, and he just stands there. And what's great about the scene is Captain America in that moment has no idea reinforcements are coming.
Yeah.
That's what makes that moment amazing. But why is that moment amazing? If we have this moment where he's like, the shield is busted and he's bleeding, and he's just giving this speech about like you stand because it is justice. It is right to stand up in the face of desperate like evil. You're not going to, but it is what makes you awesome. What makes you a good person is that you stand in the face of true evil. And he straps the shield on. If that's against like Mysterio, like you know, like that scene sucks. It's against Thanos. That scene's awesome. Like great villains make stories great. Like that's why Nagash. You might not like him, but part of the reason, and not you specifically, Mars. But
no, I mean,
general, you may not like Nagash, but like the part of the reason you don't like him is because he's been a really good villain this whole time. You know, like he's been a great villain, and he makes the other stuff cooler. Quite literally makes Teclis cooler by making him more edgy and awesome. Like Teclis has an emo phase now. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I might actually like Teclis in the next few books now. After that,
now that he's got an emo phase.
Yeah. Got some brooding darkness in him. I like it. I could get.
Yeah, I can get behind
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's like what's been happening in 2.0 is like what a great villain also needs like some pushback. Otherwise, it's just him getting away with everything. Right, and that's been my issue.
That's my fault with Archeon in general. The only Archeon's only losses are because he's too busy off winning somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like he just like, well, why hasn't Archeon like just won and stopped this thing over here? Oh, because he was too busy over there winning. Like, and he can't
be everywhere at once to win everything.
He can't be winning everywhere at once. That's why the 8 points were so significant, because then he could get to some place and go win quick.
During the Realm Gate War, like that's really what the stories were like. Oh, we're winning. Archeon shows up and kills everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, we're winning. Like,
well, the problem is Archeon is powerful, but he is only one guy, right? And, like,
exactly.
The problem I had with like Archeon, if they played up that he was only one guy a little bit more, and that's his great plight, is that he's surrounded by incompetence and he can't ever be everywhere at once, and like the walls are closing in because he can win anything forever, but he just can't be everywhere at once, and like it starts to like, you know, like with the Sinister Six plot lines with Spider-Man, it's like, yeah, he can beat any one of these six, but like he's so spread thin, and he's, you know, and like his life is unraveling, like with Mary Jane, and his aunt's not healthy, and like his whole everything is unraveling around him, even though he could kick the ass of any one of these villains. And that if you did that with Archeon's story, show me that he's just like, it's all unraveling around him because he's so busy winning so hard. But that's not the perspective we get. The perspective we get. Go on.
I was gonna say what I want from the I think they're just trying to keep him like mysterious and like some superpower, like, oh, we don't know how bad he really is, type of thing. I want to see him like in front of his armies. These people, like, if you show weakness, they will break you, type of stuff. So he has to keep that cool. But then he goes off to by himself, where he like does this inner monologue of him, just like the pressure's still getting to him. He's still mortal. Like he destroyed a whole other world, and he's still back here having to do this all over again.
Right.
I want to see it like weighing on him. Like, he doesn't give a shit that he's evil or like doing anything.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter. It's like he's sick and tired of having to keep doing this for the gods he doesn't even like.
Yeah.
But if he shows this weakness or like this hesitation of like not wanting to do it anymore, they're going to kill him, and he's fucked.
I don't like that they made him a little more simpering in Age of Sigmar, actually. Like he's actually going to try to find Slaanesh on purpose. I thought he doesn't give a fuck about the gods. Like, there's no lack of Slaanesh, you know, like that bugs me a little bit. Like,
well, I mean, like, if you read, I don't know if you read the Slaanesh battle tome, but like the followers of Slaanesh have to do a lot more to get blessings or get their prayers
Right.
heard. So, like, if they told a story like, Slaanesh stuff, people will get distracted and will do a lot of excessive and self-damaging things.
Well,
and
they're
he
like
doesn't
way
want
too
that in
busy
his army.
partying. Like they're just
Yeah.
like, look, they're fighting
Like-
every fight hungover. Like it's
Yeah.
that rock and
Or
roll
it's-
concert they threw on like was super killer last night. But like, the hangover.
It's
And then
it's
you gotta fight at noon. Go on, sorry, go on.
like if it's getting in his personal way of like it's making my fight and my army less effective, so I need to go free their god to get this annoyance taken care of because it's hindering me in some way. That would make more sense.
But do they show it? Like I don't feel like they've shown us that.
No, but like reading the Slaanesh battle tome, they say like how the Slaanesh people have to do a lot more,
Right,
less
right.
for hurt or anything. But like if they use that with Archeon, like that would make more sense about why he's going out there and freeing them. Because that's a question I had too. Like when I first read Wrath of the Everchosen, like that's cool and all. I'm glad Slaanesh is gonna be free, but why is Archeon doing it? Like
Yeah.
he didn't care.
You don't need to let Archeon be the one doing it, by the way. You can have
Yeah.
Sigvald be the one freeing Slaanesh. Like you can
Yeah.
you don't need Archeon to be the one trying to free Slaanesh, and then Archeon maintains the agency we like to see, which is the like, fuck your god, like I will, conquer and take and
Yeah.
like I want to see an Archeon who's kind of bored with conquering. I want the bored king where he's like like on his throne, and like like I want that Archeon. I want that personal story. Albendius says here, the ultimate purgatory for a warrior to forever win the battle but never the war. I want to see that Archeon.
Yeah.
Like my whole thing with Archeon is like the notion of Archeon is super metal. Like I love the like was a priest of Sigmar, learned some secret, gets super jaded, says fuck your god, fuck all gods, and goes out to just like whoop ass. Like it like is like an ultimate warrior, like NWO Hulk Hogan. Like that's pretty cool. But like you need to use it appropriately, and they use him so much like a Deus Ex Machina. Push button, Archeon does the thing, and like we never get conflict. Good stories need conflict. The thing that you were riffing on, the thing that you didn't like about Nagash is it felt like he had no conflict.
Yeah.
Right, from your perspective. And insiders with Death will tell you, oh, this was a conflict, and I couldn't sell you on that being enough of a conflict. You in the general sense of the you.
Yeah.
And like Archeon has an even harder sell to tell me he's got conflict. So you gotta give me that POV. That's
and I'm gonna
go on.
I'll be honest with it. Like I mean, chaos rules the realms. Like we see a lot of stories from Order on like the good side or Death and the good side. But if you look at it, like the realms are still mostly controlled by chaos.
It's true. Yeah,
like,
you're not wrong.
He's not going to have conflict for a long time, except for when the Bone Reaper showed up. Like that's the first real conflict he had, and it was still more of an annoyance for him.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, I was winning over here, now I got to go win over there again.
Yeah.
Ugh, disgusting.
But like I understand. I could understand why there wasn't any real conflict for him, but it's like everywhere is pretty much his to begin with. Like you're showing up into his home territory at this point.
Mm-hmm.
When like we're first seeing Age of Sigmar, like all the realms were his, except for like small holdouts, and it's like whatever. You showing up, I got home field advantage still, but at this point, it's like I want to see like this he's losing a war at this point. He's losing ground every time there's a new city, every time death does something, every time destruction does something. I want to see this taking a toll on him now. Because again, as we keep saying, he's just one mortal man that refuses demonhood. He's not immortal, essentially. Like he can be killed, unlike Be'lakor.
Right.
He has the same limitations as all other humans, like
except for lifespan.
Except for lifespan. Well, I mean that comes with like being a chaos lord. Like you get that extended lifespan.
Right.
To see Chaos gods do that just to see how long it is till you fuck up and turn into a chaos spawn or become a or become a demon lord.
Right.
Demon prince.
Real quick here, we had anonymous gift subs throwing out 3 subs, and then Caesar Earl of Grey Tea, a gift and a tier 1 sub.
Such nice.
So
people.
thank you so much for those subs out there. Albendius, enjoy you've been active here in chat gang tonight. So Enjoy the Mr. Meph emotes. Be sure to like spam the chat gang as much as possible, and go find other Warhammer streamers, especially ones that hate Nagash. Spam that Nagash
Yeah.
emote.
But
Sorry.
but Archeon's a good. Oh, sorry. You want to go? I was gonna
Yeah,
say
I got
Archeon's
I
a good
got some chat to
segue
catch
into
up on, and
Bellator.
then you keep
Yeah.
keep a pin in your thought. Archeon only loses because we did that. The Ultimate Purgatory. Yep. Caleb Kane, the Nightfall run for Batman. He goes through the whole Rogues Gallery before Bane confronts and breaks him. Yeah, like the whole like back-breaking thing. It's because he has to like deal with, and then Bane the intelligence of Bane, which is something they did get kind of correct in the movie. That everything else was like kind of hilarious and lame, but like they did get like Bane's intelligence correct, and so like the criminal mastermind aspect, yeah. Imagine if that happens, but replace Bane with Be'lakor. I think you could do that to Archeon, right? Like you have Be'lakor be the Bane, and like Archeon is like, okay, I gotta go over here and win. I gotta go over there and win. I gotta go stop this Arc Terminus bullshit.
We're
I gotta
gonna
go
get
over
into
here and like
that.
free Slaanesh. You do that, and then Be'lakor shows up and like, oh, Chaos is chosen. You're their favorite son, eh? Across the knee, and then I want that like that story of like Archeon to lose a little bit of favor and get it back. Like I want to hear that story personally, but like I
Yeah.
know that not everyone who like stands for Archeon wants to hear that story. I don't know. That's just a me thing. It's not necessarily correct. It's just my perspective. Batman Red Rain, Batman versus Dracula is a lot of fun. Haven't read it. Court of Owls is excellent. Is absolutely excellent. I think Long Halloween is still my favorite Batman run. If you haven't read it, that's where the calendar shows up. Which is a stupid name, but like it's Batman as a detective with like a serial killer plot. It's excellent. Um,
Like
uh,
noir.
yeah, a
Type?
lot more
Yeah.
noir, a lot more like investigative. If you haven't read, if you like Batman or just like comics in general, Long Halloween's still my favorite.
I've been looking into getting into comics. I've never actually read them, but I just found a store just opened up next down the street from me in July, well, this last July, and I didn't even know
Yeah.
that doing Age of Sigmar in comics. I'm like, well, now I need to look at that because
Leo says, I think of Archeon as just a tired warlord trying to maintain his uncontrollable army of morons. I like that take. That's a good take. Like the old King Kull story where he used to be a barbarian, now he's king and he's bored and tired. Then an assassin tries to kill him and it reinvigorates him to restart his barbarianness. Yeah. Or like Logan Ninefinger in Joe Abercrombie story. What is it? The Way of the Blade or whatever. That's pretty good. Like Logan's pretty awesome in that. He's a barbarian king, and like he's killed all of his enemies, so he has no enemies left to kill. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Long Halloween's really good. I must go to work. All right. Have fun at work. Thank you for having a great conversation with us this evening. Yeah. So your thought on Archeon? You were mentioning like the sort
so
of
no, a little bit of spoilers for the Be'lakor book. I don't know if anybody wants to dip out when I go
well,
into this or
the
everything.
one thing I want to say about Teclis before we move on
Yeah,
is that
yeah. I guess I should probably finish my thoughts on that too.
I think that Nagash made Teclis a Horcrux. To use your
Oh yeah, no,
terminology, but
yeah,
from our sort of pre-show,
yeah,
like he gets he gets his goth phase and stuff. Like I think Nagash, like in case of emergency, hit button and he like imprinted part of his soul stuff with his sword onto Teclis. So
yeah.
even though like
Turn 'em
Nagash
into Horcruxes.
loses, it's a little bit of that like the seeds are sown because Nagash he's a thinking man. He actually
Yeah,
shows me that he thinks and has these long running plans that like come to fruition and stuff like that. Like that.
yeah. I haven't seen that. I'm gonna need a link in the
Yeah,
Discord for that
TJ,
picture.
something TJ. It's on the. I shared his last one to Twitter. He doesn't have a Twitter. I'm like, do you have a Twitter and Instagram? Because I want to share this stuff. He's like, nah. I'm like, because I don't want to be like, this is my art. Here, look at how great it is. But I'll pull it up. It's on the Facebook group while you go ahead and move into your Archeon
Well,
thoughts.
yeah, with the end of Teclis, what Nagash doing, I don't think Nagash is dead. I don't think he could kill him. I think the end of Teclis, I think with all the talk back and forth with Alarielle, it shows how short-sighted Teclis really is,
Mm-hmm.
despite how far into the future he thinks he looks
Yeah.
compared to Nagash. But with Be'lakor, because we kept talking about him, spoilers for it, and Archeon not having any foils or anything, Be'lakor, 1,000-foot view, is Be'lakor trying to usurp Archeon.
See,
And
that's a
all
great
more
foil.
books.
That's a great foil.
It is freaking. I didn't get to finish this, like all the details in the midpoint, because I just got it today. I was reading it. But 1,000-foot view, he wants to take Nagash's plan of spreading corrupting realm gates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And spreading the effects of Shaiish, but he wants to do it with chaos. And he figured, like, we know you could destroy realm gates, as Doug pointed out in his videos too. Like, we've known that for a while. But he wants to corrupt the realm gates and then blow them up in like chain reactions, and then have like the corruption just constantly spew out. That way he could show the gods that, like, hey, I should be the Everchosen, not that mortal chump you got running around not doing what you want him to do.
Right.
Because he's just dragging his feet. He obviously gets foiled from doing it to all realm gates all over the world, because again, then
He spreads
there'd be
himself
no
too
one-
thin,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, it's not even that. Like, Be'lakor is like Nagash. Like, he wants to sit there, think, look at everything that could possibly happen, and account for everything before he lays his plans into motion. And like, I briefly read the end before we did this, as you know, and what I'm gathering, just based off the hints from what I just read, it wasn't like he was going to like most definitely lose. It was more like he didn't account for the Caradron overlords showing up, and that kind of threw his plan into disarray, and he's not a fan of that. Like, he's a very meticulous planner. He wants to account for everything and know all the variables before he goes and does something. So like, they came in, they wrecked his plan, wrecked his stuff up, and he retreated. And like, he still did a lot of damage, destroyed a lot of realm gates, spread a lot of corruption. Like, the chaos clouds are still floating out there, preventing stormcast souls from going back and corrupting realms. But he went back, and he's sitting there and just plotting some more.
Yeah.
To overthrow Archeon.
Yeah.
I think the story can. I think Archeon's story is going to have a lot more conflict with Be'lakor now. Be'lakor has more agency than really given before. We're like, oh, he just has to do what the gods tell him to do. Where like, Be'lakor can just.
Yeah. You cut out there.
He can undermine Archeon at every step if he feels like it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Isn't there? I don't know. I don't know this for certain myself, Caleb. Dark Dracon asks first, do you really think Be'lakor could take Archeon? Not necessarily in a straight up fight, but he doesn't need to. Like, the thinking. I mean, first off, Catacross almost beat Archeon in single combat. It was the fucking mount that.
My internet disconnected. I missed everything up till you said doesn't need to Catacross.
No, you didn't miss anything. I was just gonna say we've got some questions here from checking about Archeon. We'll get back into that. So Catacross almost beat Archeon in single combat and Wrath of the Everchosen, and he was holding back, right? Like, as the implication we get, like he was like doing the Vegeta thing, where he was holding back a little bit, and or the Frieza thing. This isn't even my final form. He was kind of doing a little bit of that. Versus Archeon, and then Archeon's freaking mount is what. So like, you got the impression that like if Catacross like gets rid of his mount, he could beat Archeon in single combat. I don't think Be'lakor is at that level, to where he could even. Yeah, he's a demon prince, but I think Archeon would whoop his ass in.
Be'lakor isn't even like a like stat wise and stuff. Like, he's big, intimidating fighting. He doesn't want to do that though. He's the type of person, like, I want to do everything I can to weaken you. I'll poison you.
Yes.
And then I'll come in and kill you. I'm not. Why risk myself to fight you?
Right.
when I can find other ways to defeat
Right,
you.
and that's what I think Bellacor's plan would ultimately be
Yeah.
is to basically be in a situation where he gets Archeon in a battle that he could win and Bellacor's there like supporting him and then just kind of turns his back on him and lets him die. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like at the end he's like I wanted to
Dragon
know
Age
it was
Origins.
me. Like, you know, I that's the type of thing
Yeah.
I see Be'lakor doing. Um
Yeah.
not in a single combat type sense.
No,
That's
no,
what I
no.
think Bellacor's plan is to just sort of just to basically to weaken Archeon and then make Archeon look like a chump before he does the killing blow type thing, but not actually
I
outright fight him.
I don't even think Be'lakor would even kill him. I think Be'lakor, as long as you weaken him, make him look like a chump, and made him lose favor, I think Be'lakor would be okay with having him try oh no, now you got to serve me like I had to serve you.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like,
you're not wrong. Yeah, I like
yeah.
that. Yeah, and so this art I just pulled up. This is Eric TJ. They're on Facebook. They keep sharing these. They did the disapproving
That's really
samurai, like art that I shared a little bit ago on Twitter. This one I didn't share on Twitter because it feels weird sharing other people's art when you can't tag them in it to be like, yo, this is their art. But apparently
Yeah.
they're on Instas, and I too am on Instas, but I don't ever use it. So maybe
That's what I mostly use. You should get on Insta. It's the way to be.
I should probably start using it. I should probably transition a little bit over to Instagram and use it a little bit more because the negativity engine that is Twitter purposefully it bothers me just from a philosophical stance, like just how
Yeah.
they force engagement through negativity, and I don't jive with that, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like Instagram as a community.
Hmm.
It's usually a lot more positive.
To
I've had to unfollow some people because they kept talking about drama stuff I never saw or negativity I never saw.
right.
But as soon as I did that, good, all happiness.
To be fair, my Twitter and so far our Discord, the chat gang Discord, to be fair, my Twitter's pretty righteous. I haven't had any of this Twitter drama. I've witnessed Twitter drama occur peripherally, but it's never been directly on my wall. It's been seeing my a friend of mine say something and me
Yeah.
clicking on it and seeing what's going on and being like, "Ah, shit." Or every now and then I'll catch a retweet of something, but I've curated my Twitter following or who I follow on Twitter so much that I'm pretty much I'm pretty insulated on Twitter, but that's by design. I know people
Yeah.
complain about echo chambers, and I'm like, you don't understand. I have Twitter only for this. If I weren't a streamer and a podcaster, I wouldn't have a Twitter at all. And if I didn't have a family, I wouldn't have fucking Facebook. Read the shirt. Social media was a mistake.
No, I'm
The,
mostly off Facebook because of negativity. The only reason I have it is
want to.
Phil
I think about deleting it monthly. It's just all my pictures are there for my kids and stuff, and it's
same. Yeah.
I'm like, ugh. If I delete this, then I lose just a decade of photos, and it's ugh.
No, that's why I kept I tried to download them all. It was 4 hours. I'm not waiting 4 hours and
If
not
they had a
doing it.
button where I could download all, and then it just dumps
They
all
do.
my. They do?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then I'll be deleting my Twitter, or I'll be deleting my Facebook soon. Sorry, everyone who's gotten to know me on Facebook. I fucking despise Facebook as a platform.
And if I didn't use because Messenger makes you keep your Facebook active or deactivate.
See, I do
it
use
so you have
Messenger
it.
to communicate with people a lot.
Yeah, so that's why I use face video chat some of my family. So I'm you can't
You
get
can't
rid of it.
delete it. Yeah.
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 And people aren't willing to switch types of phones just to use the phone video app that I have.
Well,
'Cause
you'll
the
note.
company-
Here we go. A little glimpse into Meph land. So that's my social feed, or my social button. It's Twitter, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, because that's how my siblings communicate, because they're younger. The
Yeah.
Instas, Discord, and WhatsApp that I'm in exactly 0 groups. Oh no, I'm in 3 groups for.
I'm in 0 group. I don't know how to use WhatsApp. I keep hearing people we're in a WhatsApp group for this army. I'm like, I don't know how you
But
get in there.
I don't keep actual Facebook itself on my phone. I only keep Messenger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have kept Facebook on my. I wouldn't have Facebook. I made the mistake of signing into a bunch of apps with a Facebook login a long time ago. So I have to like have some amount of Facebook on my phone, but I mostly only ever check Facebook on my computer. And I don't know, like there's just did it go too far? Like I don't know what happened. Like I'll go to read a news story, and like with Twitter, I feel like there's like a degree of removal. Like if I read the news story as it shows up in my feed, first off, it should never show up in my feed. Every time they advertise something, I tell them it's an inappropriate ad. Every single time, like stop advertising. Do you want to follow this group of Twitter stuff? Like game? No, I don't. I don't want to follow fucking anything. There's people I follow specifically. I just want to see what they're doing. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
God, I'm such an introvert with technology. Even it's so weird. So, um, here in Brazil, we basically only use WhatsApp, and I guess a lot of Europeans use WhatsApp a lot too, which is why it has like a prominence in the Warhammer community because we have a huge like Euro and UK core.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But like I hear about some WhatsApp drama, and I'm like, wait, you mean it's like a Facebook Messenger group? I'm just like in the whole time with like 1,000 people? No, thank you. This is the opposite of what I want to be a part of.
Maybe I shouldn't look for WhatsApp group. Like I'm bad with Discord, let alone like I start getting notifications. Your Discord's really the only one that I keep all channels to notify me with because I'm not getting blown up. But like I have a Discord group with like some friends from like high school. There's like 5 of us in there, constantly going off because they have like all these bots and stuff for everything. I'm like I don't care about 80% of this. And the other 20%, I don't care about right now either. So,
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like social media is one of the best worst inventions of all time. Like it's just it's it's the atom bomb of the digital age. It's just the disinformation campaigns, the thought manipulation, the binary conversations where, and that's a double entendre, binary because zeros and ones, ha 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 ha. But also binary as and you go, I say something, you say something. If I don't exactly state the thing in a complete enough manner, then you think that my disagreement with you is a 100% disagreement with everything you believe that I didn't like make qualifiers for. It's just such a weird, obtuse. It's great because you're in a different time zone from me, and we're running a podcast right now on social media. Discord is a media platform, right? Like that's awesome. But then on the flip side, you're like all the just chaos of it all, and man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Keeping up with Discord is my least favorite thing. You know what my secret to keeping up with Discord is, Caleb? I don't. I just the only one I care about actively is the chat gang Discord. I look at it. Okay, there's memes is white right now, and that's it. So I'll when a bunch of them get a bunch of white, then I look at them, and I catch up real quick. But all of these have just like a million notifications of all the other Discords I'm in, and I'll just never go in them now because there's too many.
Yep, I'm here.
like
That's mine too.
Like I remember I gave AOS coach the advice to open up his Discord because it was going to be a Patreon thing, and his community has like septupled in size because he opened up his Discord as not just a Patreon thing. But on the other hand, it's just noise. If I'm in Discord reading something in our Discord, all I see is just like new message and new message and coach, new message and coach, new message and coach. It just like keeps flashing at the top of my screen and covering up the sweet pictures of models that I look at. I hate it.
Yeah.
No, I'll just
I just turn off those notifications too for like
yeah. No, I mean that's the thing is my phone stays on silent. It's not. It's on silent at all times. I grab it and then I look at it and then I look at the top of the screen to see what all has happened. Oh, someone liked my comment on something, and Instas. A bunch of people just followed me on Instas. Interesting. Did you just follow me on Instagram, chat gang? Like weird. My name is not the same name on there. I think it is Mephisto, but I don't know. It's like Mephisto FM or something. And my profile pic is the pic from when I started it, which is me drinking an entire box of wine the night an election happened from some time ago.
You really don't use it. These 3 pictures.
Do I have 3 pictures on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, 3. That's 2 more than I thought I had. This interface is weird to me. So I clicked on my image and now it wants to do stuff. What the fuck?
I don't know what you're doing.
I'm boomerang so hard right now. It's not even funny.
What were we even talking about before we got so sidetracked?
Yeah, I have like I try to talk to people and be like active, but I have all my notifications off, so it's on my terms. Is really what the short end of it, the short of it is. Is just like everything. My phone never comes off silent. If you call me, I know that you're calling me because it's attached to my Bluetooth in my work truck, and like I see that like I'm getting a phone call on the dashboard, or I'm home, and then you call me. And when I check my phone intravenously, I see that I have like a million missed calls. And I look, and if you're important, then I call you back. And if you're not, you would have left a voicemail, and I check my voicemail sometimes. I don't have my cell phone for the convenience of other people reaching me at all times and every hour. I have my cell phone for the convenience of me doing the things I want to do. Go ahead.
I didn't get a cell phone until after I was fully grown, and the military said I had to have a phone.
I was 19, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I hate having a phone. I really do. Like, if I didn't have kids and a divorce and they spend time away, I would just shut it off and just get a landline.
See,
but
I wouldn't even have a landline. Molly every now and then she's like, we should get a landline, and she does it just because she knows it triggers me. Like it's like the Mass Effect 3 rant. If you've ever happened to catch. If you've ever happened to catch the Rant cam, here you go. For those of you maybe not. Oh no, Rant cam's not going to show up. Oops. If you ever happen to catch the Rant cam thing with the Mass Effect 3, my rant about landlines is like even more intense, and I get like actually angry instead of fake angry for funniness. You know, I get fake angry during a rant on something like this because it's humorous. And I get truly angry at landlines. I hate them. Like, they ring, the fucking telemarketers, like, and now, like, people know you have a landline, so they're, like, the novelty of it, and, like, you wouldn't call me on my cell phone, you just send me a text on something unimportant, but it's, so, like, and then I read the unimportant text, I'm like, oh, ha, ha, LOL, and emoji, whatever the fuck. But, like, you know I have a landline, and now it's novelty, you're gonna fucking call me? No, I don't want to talk to you. If I wanted to talk to you, I'd have called you.
Well, I mean,
I'm such a curmudgeon. It's like I love technology so much, and yet there's just these certain things I just like. Leave me alone.
if you had a landline, you wouldn't have text messages. So I mean,
you'd have to call me to be like, "Hey, did you get milk?" No, like fuck off. Just send a text. It's like efficient. I don't have to have a whole conversation.
I don't know. But the reason I didn't get a cell phone until I was forced to get a cell phone was like I like the idea like you can't get a hold of me until I wanted you to get a hold of me.
Right.
Because I could landline, I could just take it off the receiver. You know, you can't call me.
Yeah, but then why are you paying to have the landline the whole time? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, like, I put it back on when I'm okay to talk. But like, if I'm like, I don't want to be bugged for a while, off.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's all I gotta do. Cell phone, like, I gotta leave it on now. My kids might call. I don't know. When they turn 18, my phone's going off. I'm getting a landline, and then like if I leave the house to go get something, better hope I didn't forget to go get something.
But then how am I supposed to send you my dick pics?
That's fair. I do need those. That's email. You can email me.
I can email. Yeah, I can email. Yeah. Like speaking of things, like when's the last time anyone really checked their email? Like
every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I check my email like a lot. Actually, I have a lot of information that comes through my email, and snail mail too. I check a lot of the old stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this last sticker batch, everyone. I didn't send I wrote notes with the last set of stickers I sent out. I didn't write notes at all. I just put the stickers in the envelope and sent them because I don't know. I have no good excuse. I like the personal touch. It's the whole reason I am the way I am. But it was like, I didn't want to like take a whole like 3 months to send stickers like I did the last time because I hand wrote a note with everyone. I love you all, chat gang. I truly do. You're about to piss the fuck off, but love you.
Pass the fuck out.
Oh, pass the fuck out. Saw that you got those. Yeah, you good, Tomb Dad. I saw that you were hooping recently. See, now somebody wants to send me a message on Insta. You can message on the Instas. What the fuck? Is it just different Twitter? Is that all it is?
But for pictures, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Can I make the talky things and say stuff to people like with words? Can I make a post that's just words?
Yeah, if you put it on your story or you make a post and you screenshot it and post it, yeah.
Huh. I don't know.
But back to this dick pic thing you're doing. What you should do, get one of those old just get a disposable camera.
Polaroids, right?
Yeah,
Snail mail.
Polaroid, something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do it like in the olden days.
Send them on their way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched there's some video or something like people are talking about like, oh, I'm going through my grandparents, my great grandparents stuff and like, just to remember them. And I open up these letters. I thought they were gonna be like nice, cute love letters. And it's my grandma sexting, but through a letter to my grandfather, and there's a grandmother in there with it. And I don't know why she put it in with all these little, probably because she didn't think people were going to be going through them. And now here you are going through all their sexting mail and shit.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember who I was talking to. I think this was just like a random Discord conversation, like last night or the night before. Greg was in there. Like a couple. Leo was in there. A few folks from chat gang were in there. We were talking, and it's like like humanity operates on a couple axioms in terms of advancement and like achievement, and it's sex and war, and like. Yeah. Everything will inevitably be used for one of those two things. Like, so if it's snail mail, like sex or war, like like the post.
We did both.
The post office pretty much sprang up, or like the Pony Express and stuff like that, pretty much sprang up to like deliver wartime orders and stuff like that, right? Then it became for sex, and that is literally everything. It's that axiom. It's war and then sex. That is everything in existence.
I can't wait for something to be sex and then war. That's gonna be a fun
yeah. We
time.
gotta flip the axiom.
Yeah.
Make love first, then war. Right? Like not the other way around.
I want a dildo gun so bad now.
You are a Slaanesh player. Well, it's like.
Imagine how much fun war would be then. Nobody's dying. You're just getting dicks to the face. Like,
yeah, that would be. Well, this takes like. Oh my god! Like, what if we could, like, solve like conflict, like physical conflicts, border disputes, and stuff like that, but in like a humiliating but non-lethal manner?
Yeah.
Like that's not so bad. Like, we actually do stop nuclear proliferation and some of these these bad things, and like we really do disarm people. Like imagine a world like where we never invented guns, just like dildo, like they just shoot dildos at people in Cyberpunk, right? Like
it doesn't have to be like hard dildos. It would be like the gummy dicks that you could buy.
Yeah.
It just shoots gummy dicks at people.
Like you're holding up a store to like rob it, and you're like. Don't make me do this, man! Don't make me just put the money in the bank. And you're like, I don't want to get hit in the face with a rubber dick.
It's the fourth time this week. I'm so tired of all these.
No! And like you fall down like you are dying. Just like, tell my kids I love them. Just like this.
It'd just be, don't tell my kids it happened again.
Yeah, don't tell them it happened again. Oh man. Well, I want conflicts to be solved like Space Jam, but with like Magic the Gathering or like a fighting game or Warhammer. like where like the aliens come down, like the Monstars, and like, okay, we got this dispute. Oh, all right, like Palestine is, they're disputing some land here, and you know what, you guys are gonna play Magic the Gathering for this shit right now. Like, play it real quick, and then they're just like they're in a never-ending war of playing Magic the Gathering, and I don't mean to downplay some really problematic geopolitical stuff, but I'm thinking about a world of peace where we like solve our problems with like war games rather than just really war. Because it's never the people, who want to fight the wars that are fucking dying in them. It's always the working class. It's always slobs like you and me. And so like if we just like somehow like you think about that World War I story where they ran out of ammo, so they just played fucking soccer.
Yeah.
like, don't even speak the same language. There's fuck it, soccer.
Yeah. What else is he gonna do? There's an episode of American Dad where Roger and Stan are fighting a lot, and Haley's like, they just need to fuck and get it over with. I think a lot of problems can be solved around the world with these world leaders if you just let them put them in a room, put on some like smooth jazz, and just let them fuck. Things will be smooth. It'll be cool. Everybody will be happy afterwards.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They're just so pent up, like that sexual tension's just driving them crazy.
Yeah. I don't doubt that that's part of it. Like I think
a lot of these places are like, not as wrong to think like that. I'm like, just give in. Just let it happen.
Yeah. You can't like all the repression and the prude, like being a prude. Like how many people are just violent, horrible people because they won't admit that they, that they're human and they have urges and stuff like that. And like, yeah.
Like, you listen to a lot of true crime stories. You hear
the vast majority of serial killers were like they had some sexual repression and like they weren't allowed to just like be out and proud, right? They had to like get abused by their parents and hide the fact that they just wanted to have sex. And and then it became stigmatized, and then it became about power, and then it became about all these other like horrible things, and their brains get rewired because abuse and some predisposition. Like if Dahmer wasn't beaten and like wasn't shamed because he might have it could have been a different world if we were more accepting of people and like their identities and stuff like that. Like I'm not saying that like Dahmer wasn't a monster or like he wouldn't have been bad in some like we don't truly know, but I know for a fact there's people out there that like it's a stereotype for a reason that the guy who's not allowed to like express themselves lashes out violently instead because they have to keep everything repressed and be prude. Like, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I don't really. Again, I don't judge people for what they believe and stuff like that. I just think that we need to be more accepting of people. And we were joking and we landed on this, and now I'm like, oh no, how do I say words to not offend people?
So segue.
If Teclis and Nagash fucked, I guess is what I'm saying. Then
I think it would probably have been a better world.
Yeah, like the Mortal Realms would be a better place. Yeah,
you'd get light and death, which somebody's show is bringing that up, like how the god of light, the opposite was death, which you think like in the story, which was interesting.
Yeah,
normally instead of like light and dark fighting is light and death, and life was like, nah, don't get involved. Which I thought that was an interesting take on it all.
Because when it gets right down to it, like life has both. Like life itself is cyclical. Like when you talk about like gods of life tend to be gods of death too in a lot of mythology, because like it's part of like a whole cyclical process. Like the stuff dies. There's like like the stuff dies and then it becomes part of a rebirth. Like usually gods of life have like a full. They contain death too. And
I mean, like in the more modern take of the life and death fight, like people normally put them opposed to each other these
Sure,
days.
sure.
And it's interesting.
His internet cut out again.
Your internet.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't know
back
what's
now.
happening.
You're back now. You're back
Okay.
now. You were saying it was interesting, and then that's where you cut out. And I think you were about to say that it's interesting that in Age of Sigmar they opposed light to death as opposed to life to death, and then the goddess of life is actually the balancing act right now. She's
Yeah.
the one bridging and calming the rift between death and light.
We're
Which
trying to, yeah.
Right, which is an interesting.
Yeah.
That's the interesting take. Go ahead and
Yeah.
extrapolate on that. I'm sorry.
No, I thought that was an interesting take because I feel like the easy way and like the more obvious route would have been have the goddess of life go in and fight death because death is overstepping or something.
Mhm.
Where instead she's like, no, man, it's all gonna happen. It's a cycle. Tech's like, no, no, it's not. I don't think it will. I'm gonna protect your cycle because I don't think it's gonna happen if I don't. I know better about what's going on with you and what's going on with him, and I know how to fix this.
Well, I wonder if it has to do with like hope and darkness. If light is hope, because like you
Yeah.
talk about like the nature of grief, and this is fresh on my mind because of the funeral. Like
Yeah.
if you think about like the nature of grief, like you feel if you fall into that like that grief over death, it feels like the lights kind of go out around you and inside you.
Yeah.
In fact, like that, that hopelessness. So I think it's an interesting. It's something that I am currently going to spend tomorrow thinking about all day because I think it's a really fun. That's a really good dynamic. I think there's something being said there. I don't think
Yeah.
it's accidental that they're like, oh yeah, the Hope Light Man is going to go fight the Death Ambition guy, and the life cycles of life, like goddess is going to be like, yo, hang on here.
Yeah. No, that was yeah. I think it's just
Yeah,
interesting.
a
And I like how
typical
they did
guy
that.
mansplaining the cycle of life to the life goddess. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I loved it. No,
Just another reason to hate Teclis. He's an actually guy, and he just like pushed his like suddenly had bifocals on and pushed his bifocals up and actually Alarielle.
Well, I think like obviously Teclis is always as arrogant and prideful as he is.
You're gonna have to vamp.
Yeah.
This is the technical
Yeah.
term for talking by yourself.
Yeah.
On you're gonna have to vamp for a while on your own. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go. So I thought it was interesting. So with the realm of Highish, it does certain things to people, makes them more prideful and ambitious and smart, I guess. And I wonder if like I know Teclis has always been ambitious and prideful and arrogant, but I wonder if the realms themselves have played any role in like making that worse. I don't feel like because the gods didn't make the realms, so it's not like a part of them. They're more part of the realms, and I feel like they might have something to do with well, the Spire folk exists for a reason. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that's true. Meanwhile, it's a fedora. Yeah, but I was thinking about that because I mean it takes a lot of arrogance to be like, this whole thing that you got going on, goddess of life, you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm doing. And it's weird that like now, like this whole time from the age of myth to the age of chaos to now, that he's just been sitting there thinking about all like he could have done a lot more in the age of chaos than he actually did. He was more worried about hanging out and protecting Slaanesh, it seems. And then starts hanging out in the realms more, making Lumineth Realm Lords, probably getting more arrogant, like, look what I could do. I messed up with the Ineth Deacon. They don't really count though. They're just, they're like that first batch of cookies you make because you screw it all up and you burn them a little bit, throw them out. And then he makes Lumineth Realm Lord, starts getting more arrogant, hanging out in the realms more, doing that whole like realm, spirity, druidy, walking around stuff, getting more affected by the realm. And then it just gets to a point where like, I know everything. Everybody's beneath me. And nobody knows what's going on other than me. They can't see it like I can. And I think that whole like he's always been there, but I feel like it's worse. He's more arrogant than before because he's literally telling the goddess of life, I know what's happening and you don't. Like, you don't understand the powers you're messing with, goddess of life, messing with life, but I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want Alarielle's new war scroll like we got Morathi's. I desperately want that, and I want Sylvaneth to get their third book desperately. She's been focal in like 2 stories now of the 3, right? And like maybe I don't know that we get like a Broken Realms a Broken Realms Alarielle, but I would love for Alarielle to get some update. And I'm one of the people who I don't. If we were to have like a debate about who's more powerful, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't use the War Scrolls in a debate.
No.
I don't think that they're relevant to like the sort of like narrative and the fluff of what's going on.
Right? I'm sorry, like they can't. Well, obviously they can't be because Nagash literally could just kill people. Just walking
like
through.
The Hand of Dust is actually just a like, and then they're dead. Like he in some of the stories he lets out like a wave of death and stuff just dies. Yeah, you can't do that. That's fine because we got to play a game. But like I feel like people think that the game is the truth of the stuff, and like in a certain sense, like we're buying a game to play a game, but we're making reservations that when we play the game, it has to be balanced. Therefore, it can't be real, right?
Yeah.
Like it can't obey the rules of their own world. Even it's got to obey rules, not world rules.
Yeah. No, and I mean that kind of touches on what I was saying about the new models for Slaanesh. Like the models in the books they're following a story. You can't just throw them in there when the story hasn't brought them in yet. That'd just be weird.
This isn't a case to like make shit underpowered on the table, by the way. That's not that's the read people are getting from this. That's no. You should still feel like Alarielle is a god when you play the Alarielle model. You know.
But it's not fair to be like this god of death killed everything on the table as soon as I put him down.
Right. You got it.
Nagash could do that, but in the story, but you don't want to play against something like that.
Right.
There's no fun in it.
1,000%. And I still, don't get me wrong, I do want to play Nagash on the table, so I'm okay with like it being nerfed from what the story would be, so that I'm allowed to play it and enjoy that experience at all. Like, my brain is already doing the, like, sort of extra math and carrying the one to be like, well, he would really be this powerful. I'm already doing that, and I'm having a lot of fun. Like, we are at once obsessed with this, we are at once obsessed with, like, verisimilitude in the correct way and in the incorrect way. Like, yes, it should feel like the thing on the table. Like, from what we hear in the narrative, but it should be a representation of the thing.
Not
on
a
the
one-for-one.
Table. Not a one-to-one, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you need to convince me. It's like when I learned to write dialogue. This is a narrative episode. When I learned to write dialogue for stories, you're not writing dialogue as people actually talk. You're writing a representation of how people actually talk when you write dialogue in a story. Because if you write how people actually talk, think about like our pauses. We're in a pretty structured form of talking right now, by the way. I say something, you say something. We have a thing leading us through our conversation. I implore anybody to go out and actually listen to people have a conversation and don't say anything. Just sit there and listen to it. And just like maybe even like if it's like your friends, like in your house or something like that, say, hey, I want to record this. This is a thought experiment that Mephisto sent me on. Record it and then transcribe that exact conversation. It's not good dialogue in a story. It's bad. It's not good. You're writing a representation of dialogue, just like with rules and models and stuff like that. You're writing a representation. Even that the game is kind of like the part we engage with and interact with, because the narrative is just something that floats out there and yada yada yada. And I am very much a kind of a gamer first, and I care about the narrative and the models in my own capacity, kind of besides that, or on like a Venn diagram overlapping with that. But again, it's a proxy for that stuff. It's very important that people think of it that way rather than wanting
Yeah.
we're dealing in metaphor here, people, is I guess what I'm saying. Don't be so literal.
This avatar of blank is, I mean, that's kind of what I thought. Like,
That's what I just assume anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I when I saw Nagash, I'm like, oh, that's probably just an avatar of Nagash. Then I'm gonna put gods on there, and that's how Alarielle when I first got into the game. I'm like, oh, guess gods really are on the table, which I kind of like that more than the avatar of,
Interesting.
personally.
Yeah, I think
Well,
you're a lesser opinion there. Go on.
Probably. I mean, like, I like the gods.
I don't mean
coming
lesser
down.
opinion. I mean minority opinion. Sorry. Like it's,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
know
valid
what you meant.
opinion. Okay.
Yeah. It's I like the gods coming and having a direct. It goes back to like Archeon being only one man, except for the gods. You see the gods lose more often than Archeon does because they're only the one god and they're only in one location per time. So I guess playing on the tabletop isn't a 1-for-1 for the story, as we talked about. But when I go to play, even if it's like at an event or a tournament, I'm still playing a narrative in my own head.
I do the
when
same
I'm going there.
I do the same thing.
So, like, if I'm bringing the god, that god's there on my side on that table, fighting for me on this fight. That's what it is for me.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I struggled to write narratives for my Legions of Nagash army because, I'm fielding Nagash. Like that's who that is. It's hard to write a story about an army that is mine, that's fielded by that's run by Nagash. Like that's, how do I even begin to, write this story?
You take the other. I assume you brought another hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the character you write about.
Right. No.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking Sigvald to this event. It's not about Sigvald. Sigvald's with me because I'm going after the OBR in the all points. That's why he's there. But my guy is going there because that's a good story to go make your name with. Like
a real narrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I learned to like do proxy and do some stuff, using a proxy in the narrative, and I learned some stuff there. But like, even as I talk about like metaphor versus literal and no one-to-ones, like my brain is still, again, I'm a gamer kind of first when it comes to how I approach Age of Sigmar. I might be a writer IRL, but like when I come to Age of Sigmar, because I want to play it, I love this game, I love the setting, I want to put my stuff on the table, and like I want to feel that rush of rolling dice and thinking tactically, and like the everything else is an excuse to get to that moment.
Yeah.
And despite being a writer and my understanding of the difference between metaphor and literal and so on and so forth, like I still had a problem writing a story because I'm like, well, no, I have Nagash, and I'm like, I don't want it to be not Nagash. I want it to actually be him, and so he's got to be in my army for a reason. And so what's the big reason he's here? And then like trying to like solve the problem of like why the god is on the table. I think I do like the Avatar take. I do think Nagash has like kind of a like an exception clause, like where it's written in that Nagash. It basically says that Nagash has like dozens of avatars. So like we assume that like the Nagash in your army is one of the avatars. But like other gods might be the god. And it's and honestly, I think Age of Sigmar having a fluidity to allow both to be true is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Caleb, I know you're like I appreciate your wit here. You want to use a game to play a game, ludicrous. Yeah. I don't want to downplay the importance of narrative, and the whole reason we ended up in this rabbit hole is because I'm talking about like having the narrative be this big grandiose thing, and that not every model can be as grandiose as it deserves to be based on the narrative. And it feels like I'm saying two completely different things, that like I'm gamer first, but also I respect the narrative, and you know, I want the narrative to be grand and not be bound by rules of the game. I don't want the narrative bound by rules of the game at all. In fact, like that's disgusting to me. Like it's like when you
That'd
read.
be such a boring story. Okay, let's go look at this war scroll, see how well they can actually
Right.
do.
Yeah, how well
We'll
can
roll some dice. How many times can this model kill this model
yeah.
before we just write anything?
Yeah, and it's like, well, like one clan rat could never do that. You know, and like when you're like if you're trying to write a story about your cool clan rat that you love, right? And you're like, no,
Yeah.
like, and he kills like the clan rat kills 3 Bestigor. You're like, that would never happen, right? Like I've seen the War Scrolls, right? Like that would never happen, right? And like that's not fun. That's dumb. Like I hate that kind of like you're thinking about like the codified rules as a constraint on what the narrative can be, and that's kind of gross to me as a writer. This is why I love Soulbound an awful lot, because like Stormcast Eternals and Soulbound, I'm like, yup, they get a bunch of extra points and better equipment than you. That's just the reality of the world. The person in your party that plays a Stormcast Eternal is just better than you. You're
Okay.
like, sorry, like they're an A-list superhero and you're a B-list superhero. Like they're the Justice League, you're the Justice Squad. Like
Know your place.
yeah. Or you're the Super Friends, they're the Justice League. Like sorry. um oh no, me either. Just wit. I take Prince Pustulio. Is that an Invader Zim reference? I take Prince Pustulio the Charming to every game I play. He is a mighty warrior regardless of how he does on the table. Fair enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do like how you'll have a narrative spring up for like a model. Like I had this is in my 40K days. I had one model, one of my Vanguard veterans. It is an Invader Zim. Pustulio! It gets like hypnotic powers. Yeah. Right on. Right on. I see you. I respect you. The I had this one model. It was one specific model. It was my my Flamer Vanguard veteran. That survived every combat the whole time. Like every game I ever played in like 5th edition, this single Flamer survived every one of them. And I played against orcs and Tyranids predominantly. And my orc player friend was like, that character should have Eternal Warrior, which was the rule at the time, which is like, can't be slain outright, effectively, or whatever. And that model right there, and like began to think about like the fan fiction of this this single what must be this Space Marine that lives every time, and like he's gone to like the worst battles ever and he's still fucking alive, and thinking about like how when we play the game we also begin to like form narratives to justify why they defy the rules of the table game. Like if you have like a necromancer who necromancer bonks and kills a bloodthirster, you're like, how did my necromancer bonk kill a bloodthirster? And you're starting to like try to like think through the narrative of what that must be. Go on.
Gaunt Summoner killed my blood rack shrine with its little stabby stab.
Mm-hmm.
And on a 6-up, it's gone. It was a start of a Triumph of Treachery game. Turn 1. You guys I was like, you're my enemy. And he came in and he's just on a 6-up, it's gone after I like wrecked all his demonettes. He's like, just gone. I'm like, the fuck?
Well, see, that's
stupid ass God Summoner.
See, that's for me. That's part of like the majesty of the game itself. Is that stuff can happen, and then for me, it comes together when you begin to think about it and like sort of make it a narrative in your head. Like you said, you go to every tournament and you still have a narrative. You're still thinking about it. I do the same thing. I've talked about before on the show to like give yourself like, if you are a narrative player, give yourself a micro narrative. Like, if you're like, you go into the thing and I'm like, this is Bloodkill Max Sword. He is here to kill generals, and then like you have that one model and you're just like always throwing it at people's generals throughout the tournament weekend. You can really Go on.
That's exactly what I do. Like, I don't go to an event and think I'm going to win. I happen gone to events and take part in certain things, playing top tier armies on accident because I didn't know anything about it. But I'd never go in expecting to win. I go in like, this is what I want to do. Versus in every game, I want to kill their general. It's all I want. That's all my goal is. Because if I kill their general, it means I win. And my general has to also be alive. Otherwise, it's just a draw. Their army routes when I kill their general. I don't care if it's not turn 5. Their army routes in my head. Damn it.
Yeah. I like there was I think it was an Australian player. I can't remember who it was. It was right around the time like Daughters of Cain had first come out. I think it was still 1.0. And I wasn't like super. I didn't really like know the community at that time, so I didn't recognize names and things like that yet. But their whole thing is like they're showing up to the tournament to have the most kill points, which I think is like super novel. I think it's really funny. I don't like kill points factoring into score, but I do think kill points should be a separate trophy because it's just a different way to play the game. That's the type of person I am. I'm like, your kill points shouldn't factor into your tournament score because kill points are divorced from how you win the game by a lot. Right?
Yeah.
They're not balanced because it doesn't take into account like tanky armies or deep striking or summoning properly. It's just a terrible system for scoring. But it's fucking hilarious if you're like, here's the kill point trophy. And so you only record kill points if you're going for the kill point trophy, and then somebody shows up for the weekend to try to have the most kill points. That's a different way. Again, it's a different way to play the game. You're not trying to win the game. You're trying to get the kill points. And so there's this person like showed up to a tournament. They came in like 50th out of, like 100 or something like that. But they're like, it was on the forums. And they're like, you have that spreadsheet arranged the wrong way. You got to click where it says kill points and put the arrow at the top or whatever to show the true tournament winner. And they had like 10,000 kill points. Like they tabled every army or like something like that. Like, and it was just like really funny. Like they showed up to only get the most kill points, and like they didn't do well in the whole tournament, but they like succeeded at their goal of getting the most kill points, and it wasn't even close. Like the next person didn't even have half. It was amazing.
That's
like,
awesome.
And I'm like, first off, it deserves a trophy. Like that's where I decided that my tournaments that I run will always have a kill point trophy that is separate from the scoring. You come for the kill point trophy. It's called Blood for the Blood God or whatever. It's like the Blood for the Blood God award. Like you were only here to kill. So separate thing, because it's like they had this narrative in their mind, or they don't think of it as a narrative goal necessarily because it's points and it's scoring. But I'm like, you are here for the Murder Hobo trophy.
Yes.
Yeah. Succeeded at their goal of having fun. Ooh, yeah, exactly. Like, they showed up, they had their own criteria for fun that went outside of, like, winning necessarily or walking away with hardware. And they showed up for their own criteria for fun. And they, like, executed. This is the way. This is when you have I think narrative helps you with this. Narrative helps you set your own goals for your own engagement, your own fun. I've said before, and I will say again, like the hill I will die upon is that Age of Sigmar. What makes it so great it is a game where you get to truly curate your own experience.
Yeah,
who you follow on Twitter for the models, their rants, whatever. Like that's stuff you pick and choose. Like how you read through the battle tome. If you read the Path to Glory stuff, or you skip it, like if you grab it and you only read the narrative, or you don't and you just download the War Scrolls, this is a game that has sort of the maximum agency on us, the community. That's why I love it. That's why I kind of resist a couple like opinions when it comes to like Games Workshop should do more of this and Games Workshop should do this and that. And I'm like, no, fuck them. Games Workshop can fuck off. Release my models, have coherent rule sets, and like do it sensibly. And like I'm gonna take you to task on doing that stuff as sensibly as I think is necessary. But when it gets right down to it, like it's like why I don't want a landline. Leave me alone. I will check my notifications when I feel like it. And like that's how I feel about the game. Is I want I will curate my experience. I will find like-minded people to play with. It just so happens like that I know the tournament scene and stuff like that. I'm like, this is gonna be a dope tournament. But I also show up. I'm like, my goal is to go 3-2 with this jank list and like to have fun.
Yeah.
Like my goal is to go and like be in character the whole weekend, where I am the most dangerous man, and I am my heel persona, and I'm like trash talking, and like somebody's like oh man, I'm like, man, I'm sorry you didn't make that charge roll. I'm like, no, you do not apologize for your good fortune, because I am here to destroy you. And like, like having that like in care, like people, it sucks 'cause I haven't been to a tournament since like my stream blew up, and like
Yeah.
it might ruin my ability to be in character now. Like, because I think most people are in on the joke that I'm just a wrestling heel, and I don't know. It's not like I'm not me, but like to engage with people in a way where we're both having fun, but like I'm trying to win the game, and they get that
Yeah.
without, I don't know. That's why I'm turning 3.0. I like the current rules. Leave me alone and let me play.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do like the current rules a lot and the board size. That's my biggest concern with 3.0 is board size. I don't want that to get smaller, and people keep saying it's going to get smaller.
Yeah, I'm in the camp who says it's getting smaller too.
Yeah.
Travis Kicker here in chat gang. Gave me the perspective I need, because for me it's there are things in life that you can't change. The
Yeah.
only thing you can change is yourself, right? Like this is pretty you. It's a boring ass cliche. To contextualize it a little bit better, the thing that you can most change isn't necessarily yourself, even it's your perspective.
Yeah.
So having to find a perspective to be okay with a smaller board size, I had to I walked into the mountains. I was stared listlessly off at sunrises and sunsets. I went and foraged through a forest. I ate only mushrooms and various foliage that I knew happened to be edible, and I did this for 1 solid month. I'm not lying. I actually did this. I climbed mountains and shit. And one thing I discovered as I was bathing beneath a waterfall, obviously not being dropped to my knees or crushed by the waterfall, but rather standing there meditatively, I realized that I will have more room for my beer with a smaller table. And
Yeah.
this is the perspective I had to meditate to achieve to be okay with the table size changing.
I spent $3,000 on a table that I got to use for a very small amount of time. I am not okay with the board change.
Oh, it's so. I mean, that's the other shoe though. That's the most brutal part of it, is like all these TOs who are invested in these mats, and like, yeah, they're just gonna tape. I hear the one like, I'm just gonna tape it.
Yeah.
It's a utilitarian solution, but you're also like you're ruining on purpose this thing you spent money on, right? It's like, I'm just gonna I bought this nice suit, and like I see on like the placard on this party I'm about to go to, it says no suits allowed, so I just tear the sleeves off this
Yeah, obviously.
$3,000 suit. I'm like, yeah, I solved the problem. But motherfucker, I just spent $3,000 on a suit, and I tore the sleeves off to solve the problem.
Like, so with board size, like not only just buying the table, I do love the table. It's very well made. From Kelly's friend, she's a wonderful woodworker and welder, certified welder. Wonderful.
Hell yeah.
But I also like
Do
a
they
lot
do
of
they have
terrain
an
on my board.
Etsy or something like that if we want to shout them out?
God, I'm gonna pull up their Instagram, their work Instagram.
You
That
can
probably
get
has it.
that. We can throw that in the show notes. Continue the story.
Yeah. So like, it's a beautiful table, but I like a lot of terrain when I play as well. Like I went out and got the Dreadhold stuff. Not cheap these days, mind you. Went out and got it. I ordered more of the out of print stuff because I like a lot of terrain on my board.
I agree.
You shrink the size, I get less terrain. It gets, and I like lots of terrain. I like lots and lots of models, like
I
a
agree.
stupid amount of models. the smaller the board, the less of all this stuff gets. And I don't like that. I
Yeah.
want grand stories. Not as grand as, like, I guess, old fantasy, but like reasonably grand.
That's where I thought Age of Sigmar hit the sweet spot. Personally, that was one of
Yeah.
the great appeals. Is I like the skirmish style, and that the armies aren't like 200 models on the table, but I like 100.
Yeah.
Like I'm good with 100 models on the table. Yeah. Yeah. Like, can the dread hold? Does it even fit on the new table size?
It better. I'd be very mad if it isn't.
Tyromania. We can play 2 games at once at Takeover's place, at Mars's place, because you have this grandiose table.
Yeah. You will. I'll be able to hold a small event now.
Yeah, with one table you can have like a fucking round robin tournament.
Yeah.
Shameless Soul, 100 models. That covers my troops, I guess. Bravo. I did 100 skeletons. I did 100 skeletons for about a year and a half. I'm good now. I'll do other stuff now.
I just for Kelly, because we're going to this narrative event, and that's
What is the narrative event, by the way, that you're going to?
It's Battle Across the Realms, the Ren 4 group. They're putting it on. It's my first one. Chuck Moore's going, so I'm gonna finally meet him.
Chuck Moore likes to cosplay. Sometimes there's cosplay trophies. Go in character.
Oh, I refuse to never. I will never go to someplace not character.
Yeah.
We did Path to Glory locally, and I showed up with Blood for the Blood God painted on my face for my Daughters of Cain. Like, what happened to your face? I'm like, nothing. I can't lead this army not in blood. That's stupid. How else am I going to win?
Yeah.
But yeah. So we're gonna go to that. But Kelly doesn't really like to paint, so I had to paint 81 ghouls for her in like 2 days. I'm like, this would look great, because she likes to play Morgaunt, the flesh eater courts that just bring in ghouls.
Yeah.
Constantly, just overwhelm people with the ghouls. It's amazing.
Yeah, more gaunt, more like more ghoul.
Ghouls, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, and 80 is the low number. She's like, I'll not bring as many ghouls as I normally want, so you don't have to paint them all, because we're looking at like 120. She's like, yeah, I'll bring more horrors and a terrorgeist instead. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Thank you. I want the game to be varied. I think variety is the spice of life in all senses. Like, I like diversity of models, I like diversity of people, I like diversity of representation. This is a common thread throughout the Mephisto verse. Like, I want to see the Monster Mash army, and I want to see 120 boys on the table. Like, I want a game where all of that like 100 ghouls. Like, I want a game where you can be the 6 monster trucks, or you can be 50 elite troops, or you can be 120. I want a game where all that stuff is relatively acceptable. Like, it obviously, like, depending on certain factors, like, one's going to be better than the other. The point is that I show up with 120, gits, or I show up with like 6 monster trucks, or I show up with 50 elite troops, and none of us feel like idiots playing that way.
Right? Yeah.
Like, that's my dream, is that you're able to do that. And 2.0 actually walked a little bit back from mass hordes, as proven by the stats recently that show Sons of Bahamut with a higher win rate than Seraphon.
We started seeing that stuff in Wrath of the Everchosen with Knights of the Empty Throne, right? That's when they first started like doing that.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love these mechanics that do it. Like, I remember people talking about like how broken all. Of course, that's the first thing anybody says when they see something new. It's gonna be broken.
Yeah, it's broken.
Gits when they're talking about the Bad Moon, like, oh, that's broken. They're gonna be so overpowered.
I remember Boingy Boys. I remember seeing Boingy Boys stats, and I remember Vince being like, "They're just OP." And I was just like, I remember that distinctly, and he's walked it back. He says we all have something that flies under our radar or something that we're wrong on, which is,
Yeah.
like, yeah, 100%. Like, we're all, none of us are perfect. No human being on the planet Earth is perfect, except for Neil Patrick
Me.
Harris and
Yeah.
and Nathan Fillion. Like, those are two perfect humans.
You're right. Never
Um,
mind. It's not me. It's definitely them. God. Yep.
but um yeah, none of us are we all make mistakes, but this notion that we jump to, like, this is OP before we've even played against it or whatever. And Knights of the Empty Throne is there is some shit in there, the 6-inch pylons that you can get, like, there is some stuff, man. But go on, continue your point. Sorry.
I was just talking about how we just saw that, and then I kind of got sidetracked with the OP
The
thing.
army,
Yeah.
army styles.
I mean, yeah, OP. Well, yeah, it's really just the OP thing I was trying to talk about. Like, that's, I guess, Sons of. Actually, I liked how people were talking about how bad Sons of Behemoth was going to be. This is the exact opposite reaction. Like, how
We
good they're doing.
here on RantCast never said they were going to be
Yeah.
bad. Thank you.
No, you haven't. But like a lot of the talking heads and a lot of Facebook and Twitter that you'd see.
I
like,
heard it was the worst Battletome ever released.
Yeah. And see how good it's doing. It's just and I'm guilty of probably overreacting, but again, I do not like the name Perfect Strike on anything that isn't Slaanesh. It seems very insulting.
No, I get you. Yeah.
But yeah, when I looked at it, I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, why didn't I get that option? I would have liked that option. I know it's not a good option, but I wanted it.
To validate you a little bit, and everybody who, like, your initial read or your first blush in because this is a narrative episode, so I'm gonna continue to talk about writing and art and stuff. There is a old, like, art critic from, like, the 19th century or whatever, who says that the purest reading of a work is the first reading that you have. And that is, like, when we talk about authorial intent, like, what did the author intend, right?
Yeah.
The first read you get is the best read, because you don't know anything necessarily about the author, or maybe you do. So you get some extra context that you know when you read some stuff. But the first read that you have is the purest acceptance, and that is the purest art that you're going to get.
Yeah.
And then after that, we overanalyze ourselves into oblivion. Like, I kind of believe that a little bit, because I'm an emotional individual. Like, my first reaction is usually like a kind of an emotional one. I'm a very reasonable individual. I think I'm pretty logical, and I engage my higher brain functions an awful lot. But my first blush is an emotional response. Like,
yeah,
I think it's only human to be that way. So when something comes out, like, I'm going to go emotional first. Like, I'm going to have the anger, happiness, joy, whatever my emotion is, right? Like, I'm going to get that initial emotion. And then I'm going to need to, like, mull it over for a little bit. I'm going to need to spend a day with my emotions, read it, reread it, read other people's reactions, and then I'm going to come to, like, to contradict my earlier point where the purest reading of a text is your first one. And then I'm going to come to what I think is, like, the better position.
Yeah.
And I bring up both of these to point out that, like, your first blush reading of something is valid. Don't discount yourself. Mars, I'm saying that to you, and I'm saying that to all the chat gang and anyone who happens to be wandering by this VOD on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Like, your initial response is valid, but I think it's worthy to investigate why your initial response is that way. And then you're going to distill something, one, about yourself, and two, about, like, the people you know and the world around you. I think that is the way to be a decent human, honestly. Like, feel the way you feel initially. You know, if it's vitriolic, if it's rough, why do you feel that way? Right? Like, let yourself feel that emotion too, by the way. All kinds of bad stuff happens. We kind of talked about it before. Like, if people just, world leaders just fucked and got it over with, right? Like,
Yeah, good.
Ha ha ha. That was a bad callback because I was like already ashamed of that section of the conversation tonight. But
That
but
was the best part.
but
Is
a lo-
world leaders banging.
yeah, world leaders banging. Yeah. But a lot of bad comes from repressing your initial emotional response. You got to let yourself feel it and go through it, and then from there, like engage that higher brain function and process.
Yeah,
Again,
I think.
that first blush read is valid. So when you read like these motherfuckers have perfect strike,
Yeah.
motherfucker, like like that. That's a fine way to feel. Go on.
Oh, I still feel that way. Still feel that way because those motherfuckers shouldn't have perfect strike. Fuck them.
Yeah. No.
And they shouldn't be the fastest. That's whole Slaanesh thing. Fuck them for that too.
Yeah.
But when I sat back and looked at the rules and stuff, I'm like, that thing, it's
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But the names and the speed stat, fuck them. That's mine. That is mine. They stole it, and I will not let that go.
No, you're
The rest
legit.
of it's fine. And I think the problem though with people and the whole OP or saying something's garbage right away before playing against it is because they do go with that first blush read, and that's where they leave it.
Mm.
And they don't look into it more. Like they may act like they read it more and think about it more, but really they're not leaving that emotional state where like, oh no, this
Right.
is straight up trash or this is so
Right.
broken. It was like this is a snippet of one thing that we haven't seen how it plays with everything else yet. And despite us all being wrong countless times before, especially in like these little previews about how good or bad something is.
Yeah.
We still think we're right
Yeah.
when we make these emotional calls.
Well, the problem with that sort of second blush reading is that the second blush reading is usually to find stuff that supports my initial feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And so like this is bullshit, and so now I'm going to look for the stuff that supports this is bullshit. Why is this bullshit?
Fucking name.
And so we reinforce why it's bullshit. And then
Yeah.
and then we've like I engaged my second tier functions. Like this is objective now. I got out of my frivolous emotional state, and then I objectively looked at it to find why it's bullshit. Like that's not objectivity. That's not objectivity.
That's why I said it wasn't a. That's why I didn't say a second blush read or anything. That's why I said they haven't left that emotional step yet. They're still there, despite what they tell themselves.
There's an illusion. There's an illusion of objectivity, but it's cognitive bias operating as critical thought. And this is a problem in society is like we have an abundance of information, so you can cherry pick the information that supports your cognitive bias. And like it's really, really funny to me when a game like Age of Sigmar that has such a drip feed of information, to its discredit, by the way, this is the thing I hate the most about Games Workshop. This is the thing I'll criticize the most is that they're not more transparent with us. But like with a game that has this incomplete of information at all times through the release process, and that is very bad at internalizing because of how long it takes to play games to get practical experience, like that we have these like line in the sand opinions so thoroughly. Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to get their hot take out there. Everyone wants to like be valid in their emotion, and again, what you feel is worthy. Feel what you feel, process it, and stuff like that. Just don't like lock into it from a misinterpreting objectivity, misinterpreting objectivity, and then it's just cognitive bias that you're reinforcing. That's the problem. We all do it. I still think I'm right about Petrifex Elite. But I'm not Neil Patrick Harris. I am imperfect.
One, we can all hope to become Neil
Yeah,
Patrick Harris,
to be more like NPH. We can all only aspire to it, really. Like, Caleb, hot take. Everyone is too focused on hot takes. I love the irony in the statement, but also the truth. It's
it's totally true. Like since I am starting this YouTube channel, and I did make one hot take video, and technically it wasn't a hot take video. It was just the title.
That's fine.
But I was thinking about like, do I want to do like I have things I want to say, but do I really want to have a hot take and be like that? Like, I've watched a lot of people say a lot of things already, and I'm like, and I usually watch all their stuff later. I'm like, wow, you just look like an asshole right now. maybe we should have just come at this at a more calmer time instead of blurting everything out right away.
To be fair, there is a as you're allowed some growth and exploration. You know,
Yeah.
if you go and read like some of my blog posts, which like predate YouTube and shit, like God, why did I get on YouTube early to be with the like angry video game nerd and Jim Sterling and stuff?
Right.
I was on Kotaku early too. Fuck. If you read some of my old stuff, I was very much an outrage merchant. Like I was the like angry, like mistaking negativity for criticism type of person. Where like I'm like I can tear down anything by focusing on the wrong thing. And like now, like as I've gone through Age of Sigmar, like I'm like I am not that guy anymore, and I take it as I take it as a point of pride that I'm not, because I worked through that stuff early on.
Yeah.
So when I got onto the thing that I truly love with every fiber of my being, I'm not still going through those motions of like the sort of outrage merchant that I was before.
I don't want to be a part of that. Is what it is. I don't want to go through that growth process. I just want to try to skip it.
Nah, it's gonna happen anyway though. Sorry. I love that he's froze the way
No.
he's no.
Ah, there you go.
No, you're back now. No, like it's fine. Like I hot take too.
Oh no!
Like,
Stop it.
no, I hot take too.
Yeah.
Like I've got my hot takes and you know I get into my impassioned rants. RantCast isn't called RantCast because like yeah we're long winded here.
I think there's a difference between a rant, what a hot take is, and what everybody else calls a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hot takes are like that's held by a lot of people to begin with.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's
And
an
then there's
irony in
what-
saying it to begin with, right? Like,
Yeah.
hot take incoming, and then you say something that's lukewarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like ranting and being passionate about something, that's not having a hot take. That's being passionate and ranting.
Mhm.
Then there's the hot takes like you're just saying this just
To get a reaction.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. Like a lot of people in the community, I'm not gonna say they do it to get a reaction, but like they feel like they need to get a reaction or something to like feel justified in how they feel, so they put it out there.
I love this sidebar conversation going on in Chat King right now. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Every time it freezes, I look over and read it. It's great.
I'll come back to you in a second, but in case someone's on pure audio and they don't get to see the conversation going on, Shameless, you got some prep stuff. I don't think yeah, you rated me before, so thank you again for that. Lumineth Meme Lord are for the players that hate dice rolling. Oh, the ability, yeah. Another problem with so much information and a lot of the time, a site you use for your source will often cherry pick to their target audience. So you're getting like a distillate of a distillate of some sort of corrupt, not I don't want to say corrupt source, but like you're getting you're just getting like a super distilled bias that's just going to reinforce your bias even more. That's why I try to my 7 Deadly Sins episode, I spent a lot of time talking about Cartesian doubt and first principles. Because like I don't, as a person, I think very strongly. I don't arrive on any opinion I have lightly. There's some that I like. It's like pineapple on pizza. Really fun to have a strong opinion on that, right? Because ultimately, in an immediate sense, it doesn't hurt anybody what I believe on that. You know,
you say that till we're on a desert island, and I'm setting people up whether they like pineapple on their pizza or not. And if you like it on there, you're getting eaten first. That's just how it works.
Well, but that's because I'll be sweeter with the pineapple juices in my body.
Yeah, exactly. You're not thinking too far ahead,
Yeah,
are you?
no, is that what it is?
Safety.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm not Nagashian in my thoughts for this one. No, that's fair. That's fair. But no, like it's for me, it's fun to have strong opinions on things that don't matter. You know, like it's fun to like think about them really empirically and how I land on that like thought process and like how I get to like having a strong opinion about it. Like I don't think anything lightly. But on the flip side, I try really hard to tell people that I am telling you what I think, but trying to equip you with the ability to figure out what you think. Because I don't want you to think what I think. I want you to think what you think. I don't want you to walk away from my show and regurgitate my opinions because I said something like, "Oh, that was brilliant," and like that's like, and then you just like use what I say as shorthand for what you think. I see this happen too much with content creators, and it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want that to happen with my stuff. So I spend a lot of time trying to like be very conscientious of this. You know, I'll give you my hot take on pineapple and on pizza, and then you can go and regurgitate that. But the shit that like changes, like affects people's lives and, you know, gameplay. If I'm changing the game because like I just think Teclis is a piece of shit, I'm gonna feel bad about that because like I think it because all of these reasons, but they're not real reasons. That's just information I've focused on because I have biases I indulge in a game that I enjoy for the things that I focus on for enjoyment of it.
And I think that whole regurgitating is a very good point. Like I remember a couple of years ago when the whole list making thing was big for the meme, and it's like AOS. So one of the content creators made a list, and like this is just my opinion and stuff. I'm like, well, I went on Facebook and they're literally having like full on racial name calling over this stuff. Like it may be your opinion, but like people are watching you and taking it seriously and having fights over it.
Yes.
Like it's it's weird when people start like really taking what you say to heart and thinking it's fact.
I will cite facts, but the ultimate opinion or conclusions I draw are mine, not what you should draw. You know, like this is that Cartesian doubt, like doubt everything until you can't doubt it anymore, and then build back up from where you think. It's something pineapple on pizza matters if you're allergic to pineapple. It's true. And I would have a different opinion on pineapple on pizza were I allergic to it. Or if I had somebody over at my house and they're like, "Yo, I'm allergic to pineapple," and I'm like, "Guess what? Right now, pineapple on pizza is wrong. That is a wrong decision. Like that is the wrong opinion to have in this moment because we have information that is more pertinent than me just trolling Mars."
Fair. I'd just kick you outside. Now, if you're allergic to pineapple, you gotta go out. We're eating it. I don't even like pineapple on my pizza, but now I have to eat it because you can't. Like, I'll let you know how great it is.
I love that though. That's the shit I love. Like I like the sort of like there's like a banter and a trolling, and there is some of the like the internet culture that I like love the like when it's innocuous, when it doesn't matter and you're trolling. You know, like that's the kind of shit I find funny. You know, it's the stuff that fucks with people's lives that I don't find funny anymore. And gaming and enjoyment is you're fucking with people's, you know, like that's the stuff I don't, you know, when an army's about to come out and you're just like, this army's NPE before you've even seen all the rules. Like you have just affected how the community is going to react to that army one way or another, because you have people who take everything you say as gospel and in your community, right? Then you have people who are natural contrarians, so whatever you say, they automatically believe the opposite, right? And then you have people who, like, you know, like, whatever you say is going to affect is going to affect that, like, once you get to a certain status of content creator. I made the mistake of thinking that I say stuff and nobody hears me very early on. Like, I know we're 92 episodes in, and I'm like, yeah, obviously, like, I don't have the pull of, like, an Honest War Gamer or an AOS coach or a Vince Venturella or, like, a Doug from 2 Plus stuff. Obviously, clearly. All right, I'm not even just talking about raw numbers. I don't present myself like that type of content. You know, like, we talk about... We spend 3 hours talking about, like, how world problems could be solved if the leaders just fucked on my show. Like, I am not that type of content to begin with. So even if I had that viewership base... You know, but like at a certain point, you got to understand that, like, I do understand that I say stuff and then people take it to heart, and it rewired my brain in how I communicate in my life. Checking what I'm saying is you made me a better person because I realized that what I
Welcome.
say matters, even when I thought it didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm just always cognizant of that. And I think other content creators, I don't think they all make this mistake. And this is not just with Warhammer. This is in general, like your favorite YouTuber and stuff. We all need to be aware that once we have the hubris and the moxie and the good looks, to put our face and our thoughts out there on a platform that can potentially reach millions, like you gotta have some onus over what you say. You simply must, and you need to communicate better.
Yeah, and I mean, I get why people don't want to do that, because what, that they have every right to feel how they feel and say what they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like you can do that, but you should probably be aware of what damage you might be doing when you do it.
Right. I like the pineapple on pizza going. I love that pineapple on pizza has become a shorthand for an unproductive conversation, but people have such passionate takes on it. This is why I love.
I don't know why you'd say it's unproductive. I know what type of person you are now. I know everything about you.
I'm team
preference.
pineapple on pizza, by the way.
And that's how I know you're not going to live.
I have
chips are down. You're dead, and I'm eating you.
Yeah,
that's how it goes down.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's all right, man.
Where we're at.
That's all right. I will die happy knowing that my existence sustained others, because I'm an altruist at the end of the thing. Yeah. No, I made homemade pizza yesterday. I made a pepperoni, mushroom, and green olive pizza, and I made a Hawaiian pizza. The two. I was totally in control of making those pizzas. 100%. I made the fucking dough. I like smushed it out. I kneaded it and let it rise, and I bought the pizza sauce. I didn't homemade pizza sauce. I no one's got time for that shit. Selected my cheese blends and my toppings, and I'm like, I have this moment where I'm like, I want 2 pizzas because we have a family, and this is how many pizzas we need. And I'm like, I'm gonna make one that's got the toppings I like, and my kids hate mushrooms. No, fuck you when you buy the stuff.
Your kids are smart.
Yeah,
kids know how to eat.
That's brutal. I don't get the mushroom hate. I get the pineapple hate, but so I did all that stuff, and I want you to know that I preemptively made that pineapple pizza, knowing I was going to tonight talk about pineapple on pizza. I want you to know that I'm the bad guy. I want to haunt your dreams. I want you to dream tonight. You're going to bed, and I'm playing the army you hate the most in Age of Sigmar, whatever that may be. I hope it's some Death Army. And then, as I'm doing it, and as I'm declaring my victory conditions, I pull out just a big, dripping, ooey gooey slice of pizza, and it's got pineapple right on top. And I'm like, I made this, and I'm just like chewing and I'm smacking in your ear. So I'm even chewing in your ear as I do it, which is another thing that people hate. Just fucking chewing noises. You're welcome.
Oddly enough, I like pineapple by itself. And I've never actually had it on pizza, but I know deep down in my heart it does not belong there. It just doesn't.
Keep your fruit off my pizza. You mean tomato sauce? You want the tomato kept off your pizza? Interesting.
Everybody knows tomato's not a real fruit. It's just adopted into the fruit family. Get out of here.
Complex tastes aren't for everyone. But do we have Mega Bloks and Lego data? I mean, Lego wins. It's
that's not even.
Yeah, that's not controversial.
Questioning that.
Yeah, hubris, moxie, good looks.
That's like asking if a hot dog is a sandwich or not. Like
pineapple, sausage, and jalapeno. I mean, I'd try it once, but I don't know. Interesting.
No, you shouldn't try it at all. There's pineapple on there. I'm trying to save you.
I'm a rolling. So here's the trolley car thing. If I ended up in a binary between choosing Elvis or Beatles, I'd say the Rolling Stones, and just look at you.
Elvis or the Beatles, you had to pick.
Or Johnny Cash. No, which one of them am I a stand for? Like, I'm a Johnny Cash and
None.
Rolling Stones guy.
Nah, I'm not. I don't care. You know, I like music, but it's okay. I'm not standing for any music, any band.
Leo, team no pineapple, but only because I have really brutal aversion to a fucking lot of food, and pineapple is one of them. Dude, like you gotta throw the magic shrooms on your pizza, microdose it, layer it in with some like portobellas, and then like see Jesus or whatever, or whatever your deity is, Buddha. Um, it follows all the genetic markers of fruit. Get the fuck out, you're adopted.
Yeah.
Yes, I could go for pizza without tomato sauce. What? The sauce.
Ew.
The sauce is the best part for me.
Get it. Yeah.
The
I
sauce
disagree
and the
with that.
cheese,
Honest, my favorite part is the crust.
crust. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. I eat the pizza to get to the delicious crust. If you put cheese in the middle of that crust, oh, I'm happy all day.
Yeah. See, Shameless Soul saw that I defeated the trolley problem that was set up earlier between Beatles and Elvis. Like Johnny Cash is the correct answer. Yeah, it is. Cash is king.
I guess. I don't know. I don't have any strong opinions about bands or music, so
Weird. That's so weird to me. When I meet people that I'm not a music person, I'm like, what? Like, how could you not like? Oh, go ahead.
I like music. I enjoy listening to music, but like I'm not gonna be like, oh, this person's so great, better than anybody. It's all good. I'm like back in when I was younger, I was like, oh, this type of country sucked or anything. But now I'm all like,
Yeah.
put it on, man. I'll listen to it. I'll like it. I'll enjoy it. Let's experience it. Whatever.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot more eclectic as I've gotten older. I was like the super opinionated music guy, and as I got older, I didn't care about that so much. I like live music a lot, and it almost doesn't matter what it is. Like it's a Wedding Crashers thing. Well, like if it's a live band, like whatever, just play what I don't. If it's live music, like if they're assuming a level of competency where they've practiced and they play live music well. If it's a cover band, I don't give a shit. I love live music. I can just go and just sit and listen to live music. And if you can't listen to live music, you're like, I don't really care for live music. First off, we've found the aliens. They've been with us all along. But second off, I'm gonna give you a trick for enjoying all live music. Watch the drummer. That's the key. You watch the drummer and watch the bassist's face. Those two things. Switch back and forth between the bassist's face and the drummer, and you'll always be entertained. The bassist is just making the most grotesque, dirty face. Like they're chewing on pineapple pizza and they disagree with it. And that's their bassist. And we call it the dirty face. And then the drummer is usually just some exaggerated craziness. It's fantastic.
I don't know who doesn't like live music. I don't know.
I
go and try to make a mosh pit in any time I'm at
any type of music.
Festival.
It's
it doesn't matter what it is.
Just thrashing around and smacking. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I approve of this. Shorty Paints saying BBQ sauce on pizza works with sauteed onions and chicken. You're not wrong, but you know what's in barbecue sauce? Tomatoes. The crust and cheese are the best. I mean, I've never really met a pizza I didn't like. To be honest, I'm a big pizza fan. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just warped my entire psyche.
I wish we had this conversation about 40 minutes ago when I could still put an order in for pizza.
Oh, yeah, I'm a monster.
They closed 26 minutes ago.
I'm gonna go right after the show goes. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go turn the oven back on and lay the slices of pizza I made right on the rack. And
I got bagel bites. I know what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah. They're technically for Kelly tomorrow when she goes out to work, but I'm just gonna go to the store in the morning.
You
and
replace them. Yeah, I've tried that before.
She'll end up with more than what she had in there, so I don't think she can complain.
Let's see. We try to avoid the lizard people thing because it's a dog whistle for hating Jewish people. If you didn't know,
Is it
obviously.
really? I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah, the lizard people is like lizard people control, and then like everyone that they usually name in their conspiracy theories are all Jewish. So
I didn't think any like actual
person believe
anti-Semitic
that?
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun joke saying the lizard people control thing, like lizard alien thing.
Yeah, and now it's
Why are they
ruined.
gonna ruin everything?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing is like when somebody says that, I'm just like, oh, like not sure if unaware or and like I don't bad faith believe people say stuff. Usually I default to good faith until you start to prove to me otherwise. So it's like I'm like okay, real quick. I'm like, do I, okay, no, you're on the level, but like for that moment you have to go, not sure if, and then you like, and then my good faith interpretation of people comes through and stuff. But it is
Yeah.
one of those dog whistles that you got to be aware of.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I watched a debunking channel that like takes a lot of like crazy
Oh, I
outlandish.
love conspiracy theories though too.
And like whenever he talks about they, he's like, oh yeah, me and the other lizard people. He's talking about himself. So I'm like, oh, this is a fun little thing.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
There's a tattoo
Yeah.
guy who like he got like collagen injections into his lip and he spliced his tongue and stuff like that, and he's
Yeah.
like, I love lizards. Clearly, that person's not like anti-Semitic. They just really do love lizards. But you
Well,
gotta
no,
be.
I mean, like
Go ahead.
the guy was like, his riffing on it, like him and part of like the overall they and conspiracy theories are the lizard people controlling the world. He's like, yeah, me and the lizard people are taking over the world, type of thing. I was like, oh, I thought it was just fun. I didn't. Makes me really upset because I was learning people use that a lot more. I'm like, yes, let's get the conspiracy nuts actually believing this. Let's dive in.
Yeah. Yeah, I ruined it. I'm sorry. I didn't want to ruin it for you. Just be, like be aware. Like it's intent behind words are way more important than the words, by the way, and clearly the intent here wasn't malicious, and I don't think anybody thinks that. But it's just my brain. I've had too much beer. I'm like, oh yeah, hey, that's a dog whistle. Like
No, I mean, I think
I actually guide the moment. I'm sorry, it was.
it's important to know, like, sadly, like, because if somebody's passing by, like, looking through a video and somebody says it or overhears it, it could cause problems because, if you don't know,
Right,
and somebody doesn't care if you don't know.
well, and I pointed out for the the bare minimum, if some like radical sort of fascist person who hears that as a dog whistle is passing by my channel and they hear it and they're like, Mephisto's on my level of fascism. Like I just want you to be like, no, I'm not. Like I'm not. I hate fascists, and so gotta like I'd never want to like throw out that fucking bat signal and get all the fucking weirdo fascists watching me. I'm wearing a rainbow skull shirt, for crying out loud. Like yeah, Twitch can be crazy. It's just I never want to be like I'm courting that audience. Like it's not about for like I'm a leftist that I'm pretty open about what I believe, but I'm also pretty open to like hearing people out. There's just I have a line in the sand that I draw, and it's between like hating people and stuff. Like I know it's a really harsh line to draw where I'm like, hey, I think we should love and respect each other, and you're like, yeah, but I think we should hate at least these people. I'm like, yeah, I don't compromise on that. Like we shouldn't hate anybody.
Okay,
except fascists. We can hate fascists.
Well, what if we don't hate them, but we just really don't like them and want to exclude them from everything? That's okay too, right?
No.
I bring it up because that's what my brother tried to do. He's like, I don't hate these people, but they shouldn't be around. Like, man, you're not saying anything different right now.
I don't hate them. I just don't think they're valid as a person.
Like,
oh yeah. Honestly, I think I'd prefer hate.
Yeah.
At least you're wasting.
At least then they're a person.
Yeah, like at least they're a person now, and like I know that if you hate them, you're just like seething inside, and so like there's a little bit of like a karmic justice there where you have to like spend your time. Oh, I fucking hate this thing.
Yeah.
Like
just the shit weird the people.
Yeah,
people.
no,
Yes.
I know. So that's a great way to end RantCast tonight, everybody. Don't be a shit.
Did not touch on Oleander and Bellacore
Ooh,
becoming a cool team because we did touch on how the cross factions are interlocking, and I like that Chaos and Death were like, let's team up for a little bit. Fuck all the mortal people, and that's the lesson we should take away from this.
yeah,
Fuck all the mortal people.
yeah. Like, but literally, fuck them, right? Like,
Yeah.
consensually,
It's all,
consenting
all
adults, mind you. Like, literally,
consenting adults banging each other
Yeah.
will solve all the world's
yeah,
problems.
yeah.
Guaranteed. Get lock all the world leaders together. World hunger could be solved by, hey, blowies and food. That's what we need to work on today. We need to figure it out. How are we solving these issues?
Like, this has been a roller coaster of RantCast. This is.
I like how both episodes I've been on sexual.
A little bit. I'm starting to sense. I'm thinking it's you and not me a little bit on this one. By the
I'm
way,
thinking it's the sexual tension we're feeling.
that's what it is. It's
right
the sexual
there. Yeah.
tension between you and me. Yeah, yeah, 100%.
We'll just need to get locked in a room. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Like as world leaders, because then
As
we
world
can.
leaders, yeah.
Then our frolicking can solve some world hunger and some shit.
Yeah, instead of just the tension part.
Right. Yeah. Any thing you want to put on blast, shout out to, or any final digital soapbox moments?
No, I mean, I got my YouTube channel. If you'd be so kind to go to Takeovermars and subscribe, any of you. And I did send you the link to Meredith's online store. She does a lot of cool jewelry, welding stuff. And if you want anything, like, you just hit her up and she could probably make it for you. I got stools coming this July for my table that might need to be cut in half now. I don't know.
Oh man. I might hit her up for I need like a Mephisto bling. I think
I haven't talked to her about making anything specifically like that, but I may be speaking out of turn. But if you can think it, she can make it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and name the wildest thing in the world.
Yeah.
She'll make it.
Yeah,
You want a rocket? She'll get it for you.
Yeah. Meph bling on a bike chain. There you go. That's the merch. That's the merch world I want to live in. And any last soapbox moments? Anything you want to say to chat gang? Anything you want to get off your chest?
Nah, I love you all. You guys have been great, wonderful people.
Can you link your YouTube? I think that we want to get a. I always look for Takeovermars, and there's like 2 of you. Nope, I found the right one this time. Look at you beating the algorithm. Nice. Yeah.
Who else is on here?
Yeah, get riggedy wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, suck it, algorithm.
There's another Takeovermars with more subscribers than me.
Don't worry, you came up first this time, though.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
I might have to subscribe to them, though, just to...
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Takeovermars, single
Battle?
word. There it is. So Mars does a lot of lore, videos for Age of Sigmar.
Yep.
You've actually been at a really decent pace. 1 week ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So clearly you had like a good chunk of time there 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Been a pretty good pace.
Yeah. I hit finals week and leading up to finals week, so it's been
nothing wrong with that. Like we all have like real lives here. Look, Age of Sigmar is a close second to reality, right? Like you gotta
very close.
Unfortunately, reality kind of first, because if I don't appease reality, I can't buy Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I don't like how reality keeps getting in the way. But
yeah, same.
I'll deal with it.
All right, and I have of course been the magical Mr. Mephisto. You have been watching AOS RantCast. You can. You don't have to like or subscribe, but I appreciate y'all being here.
You do.
You are, again, chat gang. You're the show within the show. You're the reason I do this thing. Drink your milk, pay your taxes, be excellent to each other, always. And be kind. Always. That's it. You can solve a lot with kindness. It goes a long way. So, good night, everybody. Peace out.